Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the LTL True Crime Podcast. It is November 20th, 2023. I want to welcome everybody back into this live show. We're broadcasting this evening on two platforms, one on Facebook and then two on the parallel channels here on LTL True Crime Podcast and LTL True Crime Rewinds. I have some plans for the second channel, but it just recently got half monetized. So we can go over there and do live streams, membership, super chats, all that fun stuff. And we're working towards getting the 1,000 subscribers on there. So all the material that we put out will be fully monetized. So all good stuff there. Channels are growing. And of course, home base is growing here as well. So I'm very excited about the second channel. Still throwing around some ideas of what I want to do over there. Haven't really completely locked it down, but I know that whatever we come up with will be genius because it's always good stuff here. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's gearing up here. If you're in the States, we have Thanksgiving here on Thursday, and then Friday kicks off the Black Friday weekend shopping all the way through hell and nightmare till the essentially the beginning of the year. So it's going to get pretty interesting. I work in that business, so my holiday will be very fun filled of many happy shoppers that just always have such the most beautiful smiles on their face. No one ever gets angry. No one ever treats you like shit. Of course they do, because that's the beating that we take in that industry. But it is what it is, and then hopefully can get free of that someday and get out and be a full-time creator, because that is my goal. I'm giving myself 1 year. 2024 is going to be the breakout year for LTL True Crime Podcast, and hopefully I can achieve my dream within 6 months. So hopefully by June of next year, I will be a full-time creator. But in the meantime, we have a lot of work to do. So I want to just get a couple of updates because it didn't show up here in the chat, but I want to give a shout out to Carrie. Carrie has become the highest member in my membership group supporting LTL True Crime Podcast. So she is now Master Detective. She is the only Master Detective on this channel. And Carrie, I really, truly appreciate everything that you've done and everything that you have been doing. You are my biggest supporter here on LTL True Crime Podcast. And Carrie has been feverishly working behind the scenes, and we have some stuff coming all for you, and you are not going to want to miss it. Oh yes, we have a lot of stuff coming and stuff that is processing right now. So it should be here hopefully in the next week or so, and then you're not going to want to miss what we have planned for everybody here on LTL True Crime Podcast, because it's going to blow your mind. I promise you that, my friends. So Carrie, thank you so much. You're doing fantastic work behind the scenes. Have been approaching it with extreme professionalism and is making some friends in the area of law enforcement. And she's been doing a great job and, getting to know the clerks in and out of these police departments and, building those relationships. And we're going to have some stuff. I'm going to tell you, we are very excited. And Carrie and I actually had a phone conversation before I came live. We talked a little bit, and truly excited about that. So all good stuff there. Very, very exciting. But we're going to move on to tonight's presentation. But before I do that, I just want to let members know about this. And you all know how much I'm kind of weird about talking about money and stuff like that. But, listen, I'm going to be very, very transparent here. This is a business. I'm trying to grow this business, and I'm trying to gain support to be able to financially be free of my full-time job someday and be a full-time creator. Yes, we make money. Yes, we do. Okay. I'm going to be very transparent with that. We make money here. Yes, we do. And I don't talk about money. I don't like to talk about money. I will talk about memberships, but I don't beg for super chats. I won't do that. And I always say, if you want a super chat, that's completely fine. And that's up to you. But I did start a new way that you can support the channel. And I really like this um, service that I have signed up for because it gives 95% back to the creator. I'll give you a little bit of a background here on like YouTube. YouTube takes a 30% cut of everything that your creator does and essentially trickles in pennies for the videos that we create. Um, so just essentially put it this way, YouTube's going to take 30%. We have to pay taxes on top of that money. So I think that you can kind of put all that together. Now, what I did was I set up um, another way that can be used to give back to my channel, and it's on Buy Me a Coffee. And I really, really like this platform. I think it's great. I think it has an opportunity to grow here. It's my part-time job. Absolutely. This is my part-time job. I put a shit ton of work into this channel. And again, I want to make this my full-time job. If you are going to criticize us as creators and making money, I don't know what to tell you, because all the other channels that you watch that are fully monetized, that have 40, 50, 60,000, 100,000 subscribers, you don't think they're making money? You're damn right they are. They're making money. It is a part of what we do here. So I want to be very transparent with my audience, because essentially I was called out the other day in a Facebook group by, I'll bring the name up, by PJ, Chelsea's ex-boyfriend. And let me just pull my screen back and let's talk about this. I was very transparent with him the other day. He called me out in a Facebook group and said that I've made a lot of money off the Chelsea Grim streams. And I said, okay, well, let's put pen to paper here. So I went back and I looked, and maybe I can find that post. Let me see. I think I have some financials on it because I wrote it down somewhere. But let's just be transparent about this. Let's get this out of the way, because he was really questioning, saying, oh, you made a lot of money. It's true. I have made money, but I'm going to tell you this. This is what it came out to. I know I sent it to Carrie because I was telling her about it. Let's see. Let's see. I should have done this before the show, but it's all right. I plan on being here for a little while tonight. We're going to hang out a little bit. We're going to hang out. Let me see. I know I put it in the chat with her. Oh, okay. So I wrote PJ a post, and I said this to him because he questioned me. He always kept saying like, oh, you make all this money, you make all this money. So we'll just put this all to bed. Okay. We'll be transparent about it. Okay. Yes. And that is the you've got it. You've got it. Ready? This is the financials. So I went through all of my Chelsea Grim videos, my live streams, the videos that I've put out there and all that. Okay. So I just want to make a point here and be very transparent about this. So I wrote to Philip and I said, Philip, money seems to be your main focus, my friend. Let's address this issue immediately. Yes, I have earned some income, specifically $292.81 from Chelsea Grim videos after tallying up all my financials. But LTL gives back. So after deducting $85, that's what it costed me to get all of the body cam footage and the case file. And I don't know why I'm talking about this, but I just want to get it transparent and put it out there because people question us all the time as creators. So let's say that case file, $85. So that money has been spent. So then it came to $207.81. But on top of that, right in the mix of Chelsea Grim talking about Chelsea, and I believe the date was October 28th. I have to go back and pin it down. But we started talking about Chelsea on October 14th. Okay. On October 28th, and I believe that's the date of the stream. Actually, you know what? I'm going to find out right now. It was, hang on, October 21st. So we started talking about Chelsea on the 14th. On October 21st, I did a stream, and I think it was actually the 20th, and I dropped the clipped video on the 21st. So let's say the 20th. On October 20th, I donated $500 to Christine Borge. Now, if anybody doesn't know who Christine Borge is, Christine Borge was a victim of the Maui fires and literally was living on a gym floor. And we had been watching her GoFundMe for quite a while. And I saw that she had a $10,000 goal. And she was just trickling at about $9,500. And we went in, we did it live. We did it live. We did it live. And we dropped $500 on her GoFundMe to put her over $10,000. And granted, you can go back and look at the list of donations. I donated before that too. So I gave back to charity to get Christine Borge off that gym floor. She was literally living on a gym floor. And that $500 from LTL gave her her goal. Hopefully, because it's been a couple of weeks, that money got released to her and that she's using it to get her life back together. So if you question me, here's the thing. Have something to question me about. I will address it, and I just addressed it. So after dropping the $500, right now to date, my balance off Chelsea Grim videos is minus $292.19. That's how much money I've made off Chelsea Grim videos. So I've minused $292.19. So there you go. Very transparent about it. I went in and did all the math on my analytics. I said, let's put this to rest. Let's put it all out there. So PJ, your $30,000 goal, little ridiculous. And my minus net of $292.18. And this is the thing. To me, I don't give a shit about money. I do this because I want to get Chelsea brought home. Okay. I'm not the one out there with a GoFundMe with a $30,000 goal asking for money because you're going to hire a private investigator. You need to put all this stuff together and a website and all this other stuff. And I've given you my platform free of charge every single time I come on air. Anytime you want to come on air and talk about Chelsea and get your story out there and get your point of view or what you want to do here, your platform is always free. I will drop the link to you and you're welcome on the show. And you have my phone number. I mean, I've called you multiple times. We've talked on the phone. You know how to get a hold of me. So I'm done addressing that. I'm over it. I'm not going to address it anymore. And LTL True Crime Podcast will continue to roll forward. So Lee and Susan says, hello, Brian. I feel what you make or don't make is your business. And that's it. You don't owe anybody any explanations, just my personal feelings. Absolutely. I mean, it's true. I am monetized. Yes, I make money. Of course I do. I want to make this my full-time job someday. So I need to increase my revenue. So I need to make better videos, do longer, whatever, better streams, or find other alternate ways to make money. Now I'm talking about getting some merchandise together soon. I'm just not quite sure what I'm going to do because I just want to make sure anything that I do is going to work and that people are going to want to have it. Say, hey, I looked at the coffee mug. I want to buy that. So I don't know. I don't like to talk about money here. I'm just letting you all know because it was a thing that came up and it was questioned. It was public and I wanted to address it. So anyway, I'm done with that. All right, we'll move on here. So again, I just want to show you a way, and this is what I really like because I like the fact that this gives back 95% to creators. So this is called Buy Me a Coffee. I've now pinned the link up there to the top, and you can do kind of like a super chat if you want to. They have a couple different options here. There's 5, it goes up, and it's just 25, and it can go up, and you can put your own donation in there as well. They also have monthly memberships. So if you want to join in those monthly memberships, they start at $5 and they go all the way up to $100 master text. So I'm basically mirroring what I have on my YouTube account. And I'm going to start investing in this page a little bit more, putting some more material out there. I think that we can get uh, uh, earlier videos out and stuff like that. So we'll do something with this. I like it. It's a great platform. I think it's cool that they don't suck us dry like YouTube does. And this is an alternate way to support as well too. So anyway, so if you want to do that, you can it's called Buy Me a Coffee. You can just click on the link there and donate through there. If not, no big deal. We will always continue here at LTL True Crime Podcast. So anyway, that's how we came here, but I wanted to get that business out of the way since it was public and I was questioned on it. And when I'm questioned, I have receipts and I want to talk about it and get it out there. So anyway, let's do this. So we had some breaking news today that came out in the Idaho 4 Bryan Kohberger court case. I will pull that up from Fox News. Fox News reports, if you haven't heard today, Bryan Kohberger case. Idaho judge seizes control of courtroom cameras in student murder proceedings. Let's read through this article a little bit here. Okay. Idaho District Judge John Judge, who is overseeing the quadruple university student murder case against Bryan Kohberger. Hang on one second. Just want to check something. Oh, perfect. Against Bryan Kohberger, granted the defendant's request to remove media cameras from the courtroom on Monday. However, the proceedings will still be streamed by the court. Quote, it is an intense focus on Kohberger and his every move, along with adverse headlines and news articles. That leads the court to conclude that continued photographs and video coverage inside the courtroom by the media should no longer be permitted, Judge wrote in a ruling published on Monday. This discussion comes after months of anticipation in a highly publicized case. Okay, I want to do this. So I had a poll out there at first. Do you think that Bryan Kohberger's trial will happen in 2024? I'm gonna end that. And we had the result of 58% said yes, 21% said not sure, 20% said no. All right, I'm going to put a new poll out there, and I want to see what you all think about this. Let's do this. Are you happy? I'm only going to give you a yes and no. So poll at the top. Are you happy with the judge's ruling on cameras in the courtroom? So I want to see what you have to say. This decision comes months after participation in the highly publicized case. Friday's order states members of the media and public will not be allowed to record their own video, audio, or take photographs of future hearings. Idaho court's spokesman, Nate Popolino, said in a statement, however, during future public hearings, a court-provided live stream will be available through Judge John Judge's YouTube channel. That's interesting. Why would it have to be on a YouTube channel? That's a little weird. It's almost like I want to direct traffic through my YouTube channel so I can pump my channel. I don't know. That's kind of the way that I see it. It's a little weird. And then mobile users, he had some things that came down on there. And I'm not going to read through all of this. This is just, it would take me years to read through this. We'll just read the article. So judge also denies media coalition's motions to intervene in the case. In the order, he accused the media of violating the request not to exactly zoom in on Kohberger's face and not to record before after court is in session. Now, here's the thing that I think. I think that there should be a fixed camera in the courtroom, complete transparency, no bullshit, no lies. We should see it. But why is this being streamed over the judge's YouTube channel? That's a little weird to me. So you're going to have control of the video So what's to say that you're not like you take it down? You know, what's to say that you hide it after it streams because you don't like something that happened in the courtroom? It's a little weird. I think that it should be, if you're going to do anything like that, and if it's any type of YouTube channel, it should just be like an Idaho court, or there should just be a link that you log into and it's a Zoom camera. And there's no way that it can be all, any way that it could be manipulated, hidden, all that. And then it just gets uploaded to, I don't know, a court website or something like that. So there's full transparency. I just think it's weird. It's weird to me. Do you think that's weird? I think it's weird. Additionally, defense counsel has raised continued concerns. With video footage and photographs captivating private documents on counsel's table. This is, again, a violation of the court directives, Judge wrote. The state has also raised issues with vulnerable victims and witnesses being filmed during the testimony. At this juncture, the court has no confidence that directives to stop photographing or videoing during such testimony will be adhered to. So if you don't like something, you're going to be able to control the cameras. That camera better be on the whole time, and you better not shut them off. It needs to be on the whole time. I'm telling you, the whole time. But if this is going to prepare and make witnesses feel better, I want them to be as comfortable as possible going in on that witness stand, because we need good witnesses and we need full transparency through this. Absolute, complete, full transparency. And we need good witnesses, good, relaxed witnesses. So again, this is going to go into just the background of the case we already know. And, I just wanted to give a little bit of a background as to what happened today in this ruling. So if you're just jumping in, Idaho judges seize control of courtroom cameras in student murder proceedings. Essentially, the feed will be live streamed through Judge John Judge's YouTube channel, and essentially just be a fixed camera. I'm fine with that if that's going to make the judge, the witnesses comfortable. I'm sure the comments will be turned off. I'm sure hopefully the monetization will be turned off and they're not making any money. And hopefully, I'm probably going to say that the live chat should be shut off as well too. So it'll just be one continuous stream, but that will be, what we'll see there. So let me look at the poll. So you all asked, are you happy with the judge's ruling on the cameras? And 70% of you that voted said yes. We had 20 votes, 69, I'm sorry. And 30% said no. So a little bit of a gauge on that. All right, let's look what else we have here. So we're going to go into a video here now to give you the most recent update on Bryan Kohberger. And this came up on Law and Crime Network the other day. And it says, who is the Idaho murder suspect, Bryan Kohberger? And we'll watch this and get a new updated background. Here we go.
Have shaken our community, and no arrest will ever bring back these young students. However, we do believe justice will be found through the criminal process.
Who is Bryan Kohberger? We're taking a closer look at the accused murderer, from his early life in Pennsylvania and extensive criminal justice studies, all the way to the quadruple murder he's now accused of committing. Plus, what's next as he awaits his coming trial?
It alleges that the defendant, Bryan C. Kohberger, on or about November 13th of 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did unlawfully enter a residence located at 1122 King Road, Moscow, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder.
It's now been 1 year since the murders that sent shockwaves across the country, when 4 University of Idaho students were found brutally stabbed to death.
It took me a second. I really had to think about what I had just heard. 4 murders in Moscow, Idaho is so out of character.
For weeks, investigators kept details close to the vest, refusing to publicly name any suspects.
And we see this coming. Eventually, we're going to narrow in on exactly what happened and who did it.
But nearly 2 months after the murders, an arrest was finally made.
Detectives arrested 28-year-old Bryan Christopher Kohberger in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, on a warrant for murders of Entin, Zana, Madison, and Kaylee.
Authorities say this man, 28-year-old Bryan Kohberger, is responsible for the grisly murders of Zana Kernodle, Entin Chapin, Madison Mogan, and Kaylee Goncalves. Investigators found all 4 students brutally stabbed to death in an off-campus home on King Road. At the time of the murders, Kohberger lived just about 15 minutes from the college town of Moscow, Idaho, in Pullman, Washington. That's where he was a PhD candidate studying criminal justice. But before all this, Kohberger spent most of his life in Pennsylvania.
It's not always the creepy guy with glasses and oily hair and creeping around the corner. It's sometimes just that average Joe that on the inside, you have no idea what he looks like. But on the outside, he may just seem like a normal person, much like Bryan Kohberger did.
Bryan Christopher Kohberger was born on November 21st, 1994 in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, about an hour and a half north of Philadelphia. He graduated from Pleasant Valley High School in 2013, located about 10 minutes from his family home inside the Indian Mountain Lake development. That's where investigators would later compare DNA found at the Idaho crime scene with DNA collected from the Kohberger family trash cans. Before all that, Kohberger spent the majority of his 20s in the Lehigh Valley, about 45 minutes south of his family home. That's where he studied first at Northampton Community College and later DeSales University.
It's a small school. It's not like it's a Penn State or a Pitt or a Temple. It's a very small school in a cornfield. So if you go there, you know most of the people within your study and pretty much everyone that goes to the school, and he was not known.
After his arrest, Law and Crime Network crews traveled to Pennsylvania to learn more about Kohberger's past. That's where we met Josh Ferraro, who studied criminal justice alongside Kohberger.
At that time, I would have never said, oh yeah, that guy would do something like this. He may have been a little odd or a little off, but like other than that, you'd never expect someone to be allegedly part of a quadruple homicide ever.
Ferraro told us he approached Kohberger for a project because Kohberger mainly kept to himself.
He was new, and I said, hey buddy, do you want to be my lab partner? And that's pretty much what was left, so I took him. And it ended up working out very well.
At DeSales, the pair studied under renowned forensic psychology professor Dr. Catherine Ramsland, who, since Kohberger's arrest, has appeared on Law and Crime Network. At Ramsland's direction, Kohberger took classes that inspected the psyche of killers.
The course that I took that stands out is psychological sleuthing, where you basically enter the mind of a killer. She would give you sheets, and basically the sheets would denote and detail a crime. However, you wouldn't know who did what per se or where this was, but you'd have to, it was a group thing, so you'd get partnered up or in groups, and you would go through these activities and basically come up with a theory or a thesis and then challenge it to Dr. Ramsland.
The Master of Arts in Criminal Justice is awarded to Carlina Kemery. Jenna Cook.
Bryan Kohberger.
Bryan Kohberger.
So
After his
odd.
graduation from DeSales University,
So
Kohberger
bizarre.
headed more than 2,000 miles west to continue his criminal justice studies, this time at Washington State University.
The dad was like wanting to introduce me to Bryan, and he said something, I don't remember the exact like word he used to describe him, but it was something that was like he has a hard time making friends, or he's kind of shy, or something like that.
After arriving in Washington, Kohberger moved into the same apartment building as Christian Martinez. He described Kohberger the same way as Ferraro, standoffish but seemingly harmless. But Martinez's wife felt differently.
Like every time I would like talk to him, my wife describes it as like a death stare, and like it kind of is like.
You think?
Like, you know, you make eye contact with people, but like you're not like constantly like just staring at him. He would be like constantly like staring at me, like he's just trying to like analyze me. But that was a feeling I would get.
After the murders on November 13th of last year, Martinez says Kohberger reached out to him about the topic.
He was like, "Oh, did you hear about these murders that happened?" And it was like so short after they actually happened. Like there was barely any news articles out, so there wasn't much that I could have like read. So I was like, "Yeah, man, that's crazy. Yeah, of course I've heard about him." He was like, "Yeah, it seems like they don't have any leads." And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, there's not much about it, you know. There's nothing. I have no details really to say." But yeah, and then he's like, "Yeah, it seems like they think it was a crime of passion." Those were the two things he said, was that they had no leads and they think it was a crime of passion.
Martinez
That's
says
disturbing.
Kohberger may have had a fascination with death or dying.
One thing that stuck out was it was kind of like on the subject of what it would take to like take someone's life. Like it was kind of like he was trying to see my perspective on, well, I guess, taking someone's life.
Martinez kept in contact with Kohberger in the weeks after the murders as the investigation continued.
The loss of Xana, Kaylee, Madison, and Ethan remains the highest priority for the Moscow Police Department. We will continue putting all of our resources into investigating and solving these murders. Investigators are prepared.
Can you imagine like talking to someone that's talking about a case and then like literally a week or 2 weeks later, they're arrested for the case that they were talking about? That is freaking haunting, man. That is so haunting. Can you imagine that? What the hell, man?
prepared to work through the
That is
Thanksgiving
haunting.
holiday to continue their efforts.
As local, state, and federal police continued on in the investigation, Kohberger sent Martinez a text on Thanksgiving, reading, quote, "Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family." This message was sent just 11 days after the murders.
Wow.
Weeks later, Kohberger was headed back to
Wow.
Pennsylvania for the December holiday
Let's go
break.
back to that.
Murders. Investigators.
As local, state, and federal police continued on in the investigation, Kohberger sent Martinez a text on Thanksgiving,
Wow.
reading, quote, "Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family." This message was sent just 11 days after the murders.
What?
Weeks later, Kohberger was headed back to Pennsylvania for the December holiday break. As he and his father drove cross country, they got pulled over. At the time, Kohberger was driving his white Hyundai Elantra that investigators had previously announced was a vehicle of interest in the case.
So you're coming from Washington State University, and you're going where? Oh,
We're going to be going to Pennsylvania.
oh, okay.
Soon, the Idaho murder investigation went national when Pennsylvania authorities were called to help.
We weren't advised of the presence of the defendant in our county until only a couple days before the apprehension of the defendant. But when we were told,
Martinez was his
we
friend.
came together and worked very closely with Captain Kramer, who did an excellent job in almost like a clockwork operation. Part of my duties were to ensure that 3 separate search warrants were issued.
Kohberger was arrested at his family's home in Albrightsville, where investigators later recovered multiple items from his white Hyundai Elantra, including goggles, hiking boots, a shovel, and a wrench. At the start of the year, Kohberger appeared in Monroe County, Pennsylvania court. Cameras were not allowed inside the hearing, but he quickly waived his right to extradition.
It is
Funny thing is, I have a video coming up here pretty soon, and it's going to talk about the five, what the mainstream media talks about, the 5 damning pieces of evidence in the Bryan Kohberger video. And Jesse Weber's actually on that podcast, and he's an actual lawyer, and he talks about that you're not even going to believe all of the other evidence that is going to come out in this case. And I've been saying that from the beginning that I have talked about this. And the funny thing is, we got some snippets the other night in the Goncalves' interview, some little tidbits. They talked about Kaylee's phone and how difficult it was to get all that information off. Now, I think there was a lot of that because there was probably a liquid substance on that that was red. And I'm sure that you can catch my drift. And they also talked about that they've had her Bluetooth speaker for all this time, and they haven't been able to get that back. And I find that very interesting because that's something that I talked about very, very beginning of this whole incident. You know, her, and I said, if there's any Bluetooth or Wi-Fi devices that, let's just say, if Kohberger did do this and he was in and around that house at any time, even before the murders happened, and we know that he visited in and around that location 12 times. Let's just say that he drives through that neighborhood maybe sometime in August, and this moron doesn't turn his phone off in and around that time, and it connects to one of those devices in that house. Better yet, this, what if this moron actually went into the house with his phone one time and it connected? Because we may find out that he's been there before. We may find out that he's been at a party or something, a social, whatever, outside the home, talking to people before. That may come out in trial. I'm not saying that's fact, but I'm saying something like that may come out in trial. And it's only going to take that one instance of possibly him connecting to a Bluetooth or a Wi-Fi. And your stuff pings all the time. I mean, I've shown it. I can show you the list of what my phone is pinging right now, just with my Bluetooth. That is all the list of people's Bluetooth devices in my area right now that is trying to connect to. Why would they be hanging on to Kaylee's speaker for so long? Goncalves family has not gotten it back yet. Her phone, they said that there was her computers that they had that they've been analyzing and going through for months, for almost a year, and they still haven't gotten it back. Maybe on there we have the connection. Maybe on there they have the Kohberger connection and found out how this all connected. And I know that is the two biggest questions in this case right now: the how and the why. The how and the why. And I think we're going to get a clear picture at trial about that. Okay, let's keep playing.
A quirk, apparently. It's not in the norm of the states I'm familiar with that Idaho does not release their probable cause affidavit in support of their arrest warrant until after their defendant is returned to that state. But having read those documents and the sealed affidavits of probable cause, I definitely believe that one of the main reasons the defendant chose to waive extradition and hurry his return back to Idaho was the need to know what was in those documents.
The court documents were later unsealed, showing surviving roommate Dylan Mortensen saw the suspect the night of the murders. She describes the suspect as, quote, 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows.
Heather, I'm not going to challenge you. I'm not challenging you, but I'm just curious. You always say that everything is weird. You know, when I do these streams, you go, it's weird. It just doesn't add up. Can you just type in the chat? Just give us an explanation. You don't have to give us a long explanation, but just a short explanation. And I think it's great that you disagree and that you need the court case. But I'm just curious, you know, what is it for you that you need to either convince you or to not convince you? I'd love to see that, because I think it's great. You always come in, you challenge it. You're very, very stuck to your conviction. You haven't changed in a year. And I think that's great. You've stuck right to it. But I'm just curious what you need to know exactly. Just what are the key things that you would need to know exactly to say, all right, this guy did this. And again, I'm not questioning guilt or innocence. I'm just curious because, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything like that, but I'm just wondering, because you said I have to see it in court. What would you need to see? That's what I guess my point is. All right, we'll keep playing through this.
Prosecutors say that description matches Kohberger to a T.
Count 2 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan C. Kohberger, on or about November 13th, 2022.
No, in the beginning I thought it was
in Lake
okay.
County, state of
No
Idaho,
problem.
did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being.
I would think, and this is just my opinion, I would think to put someone's life on the line, ultimately, if this guy gets convicted, he's going to be executed. I would think before even going to that step, taking a human life, okay, you would have to have 100% have the goods on this guy. That's my opinion. You would 100% have to have the goods on this guy. Now, the state can present all the evidence they can. Maybe they don't have as much as we think they do. But something tells me, because of all the gags that are in place in this trial, case, because it's not quite a trial yet, but this case right now, I would have to think before putting your balls on the line out there that you are dead set that this guy did it and you want him to fry. I think this guy's cooked. I think they have so much under this gag, and I think everybody's mouth is going to drop in that opening statement. I think you're going to go, holy shit. Holy shit. I think that's my opinion, Again, I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. Maybe they get in there and they bobble it and they screw it up, and it would be a travesty. It would be a travesty. All right, let's keep going.
Stabbing Madison Mogan, from which she died.
Since his extradition, Kohberger has been held at the Latah County Jail, where sources say he follows his case closely.
I think it's very normal for someone to follow their case if it's highly publicized. They want to see what everyone's talking about, what they're saying about their personal life as well as about the case. It's like checking Instagram or your Facebook to see what people are tagging you in or saying about you.
Long Crime Network host and public defender Bryan Buckmeyer says Kohberger's interest with the case shouldn't be seen as an admission of guilt.
I'm not surprised that many people are having this negative connotation to Bryan Kohberger following his own case, because for many, it's guilty until proven innocent. And so in that lens, him following the case seems somewhat nefarious. But think of it this way. If you knew that the entire world was talking about you, wouldn't you want to know what they're saying?
Besides Kohberger's fascination with the Idaho Four, sources from the Latah County Jail also say the accused killer has found religion from behind bars. They say he, quote, sits down with a pastor and receives his own private mass.
It is unsurprising for someone to find religion while in prison or in jail. Just like I would say it's unsurprising for someone to find religion when they're diagnosed with cancer or with a severe disease. It's, I think, the person seeing their own mortality and the difficulty of their situation and looking for an answer.
Reports also say Kohberger has been a model inmate since his arrest who maintains a strict vegan diet while behind bars. For now, Kohberger is being held at the Latah County Jail, only about a mile away from the crime scene. His case was scheduled to go to trial this October, but it's been postponed indefinitely. When the case does finally go to trial, Kohberger can expect a weeks-long case ahead of him. Looking ahead to the verdict, if Kohberger is convicted of the murders, he could be sentenced to death.
All right. Let's go on to, hang on one second. I just got to do something really quick. Oh, sorry. I'm just reading something really quick. Sorry, chat. Hang on. I'll just got to pause for like 2 seconds. Let's see. Oh man, I want this so bad. What am I doing? Okay. All right, let's go on to this. Sorry, gang. Sorry. I got distracted. Let's see. So I'm going to talk about, we have some updates for Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen. I'm going to bring those articles up here. We'll talk about this. So where the surviving University of Idaho roommates, and this is from the New York Post. This was posted on the 13th. So where the surviving University of Idaho roommates Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk are now, a year after the grisly murders. And, as you guys know, I didn't do a kind of let's go back to a year and look. I kind of waited a little bit to go through that, but we'll look through this here and just see what gets caught up on the two roommates. So Dylan Mortensen and Bentley Funk were both home. We know about that. Mortensen, 21, even came face to face with the killer. We know that the two women were also allegedly texting each other during the murders were happening to receive an onslaught of hatred online after it was revealed that no one called 911 for several hours after the quadruple murder slings. And I said that. I thought, Laura and I did that stream back in May when was that? May of this year. We talked about the possibility of them texting, and I felt that all along. Hey, what's going on? What's going on up there? Has anybody heard anything? What is that? What is that noise? Since then, the two roommates who were spared to have kept to themselves. It says here, Mortensen has repeatedly been isolating herself. She is seen briefly after the murders running near her parents' home, but has avoided social media attention since. In the beginning, weeks after the homicides, she was basically dogpiled on social media. Private investigator Ruben Appelman told NewsNation. This was part of the trauma she experienced. Dylan herself has retreated from the public eye, and very few people see her. Mortensen's father apparently told Appelman that his daughter is in trauma therapy of sorts. She's getting help from a spiritual community. The private investigator said she's doing what she can without going into public. Funk, 21, has kept to even a lower profile and now lives in Nevada. She has only been heard from her attorney since filed a motion earlier this year to dismiss the subpoena, but would force her to testify as part of the murder suspect, Bryan Kohberger's defense. The thing we need here is one of those two people to testify, and they may not. And that's why, I heard something today, and we're going to hear about this, that possibly moving out of state, switching schools, doing everything they can to distance themselves from this case because they probably don't want to be in that courtroom. And that is scary. That is very scary for the defense. We need a very good, comfortable witness going into this. We need to make them as comfortable and make sure that they can testify at this trial because they're eyewitnesses, and that's extremely important. So she's only been heard from when her attorney files a motion early. She had to dismiss the subpoena. Funk, however, later agreed to sit down with an interview with the suspect's attorney. It's unclear this happened or what came out of it. Still a mystery why Mortensen and Funk took so long to call the police on the night of the slayings. We don't know if it's just an issue of intoxication or fear, the Idaho law enforcement source told the Post in January. According to the new released police affidavit, Mortensen thought she heard Goncalves, there's someone here, followed by a sound of crying from Knodl's room in a male voice ringing out, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Early police reports said that the roommates who lived on the first and second floors of the house had friends come to the scene before them finally calling 911. My opinion, I thought that was dumb. How that happened, why that happened, we'll find out in trial. The pair were quickly ruled out as suspects, cops said. In December, Morton and Funk got matching tattoos on the back of their elbow to honor the murdered roommates. The first letter of each friend's first name surrounded by angel wings. Morton said that her four roommates changed the way I look at life. Funk wrote that the victims were all gifts to this world in their own special way, and it won't be the same without you. So that's a little bit of an update there. This was from the New York Post. I have another article that I want to go through from the Daily Mail, and that gives us some updates on Mortensen and Funk as well. Just excuse me 1 second. I need to do something. Okay, so let me bring this up. So from the Daily Mail. Oh, what happened here? From the Daily Mail, Idaho murder victims' roommates Dylan Mortensen switches schools after suffering survivor's guilt as a mystery still surrounds how she came face to face with the accused killer, Bryan Kohberger, and lived. Mortensen, 21, one of the two roommates, survived November 13th. Mortensen told investigators she saw a man walk in the house. She's left with survivor guilt, her stepmom said on Saturday. All right, we'll get into the article a little bit here. We know all the background. Let's see. Where is this? Mortensen left Moscow earlier this year, said Patricia Monroe, Mortensen's stepmother. Goes on to say Monroe married Mortensen's father, Brent, and helped raise Dylan from the age of 7 until almost her graduation of high school. She told the New York Post she remains close to the family and Mortensen was okay. Monroe, 53, said there's a lot of guilt because, if someone, Dylan's was lucky, and she don't want to take on that luck because all the children deserve luck. They all deserve to be spared from that. Mortensen told police she stood in a frozen shock phase as a figure clad in black clothing and a mask walked towards her, then towards the back sliding glass door and left the house. She then locked herself in a room and she did not emerge until the next morning. Mortensen and Bethany Funk, the other roommates who survived the attacks, did not call the police until noon that day, which was given a rise to online trolls attacking Mortensen and Funk and claiming that they were involved in the murders. I mean, listen, you didn't call until noon. You didn't call until noon. I think that's going to open. I don't think it's really trolling, but I think it's going to open to some speculation and say, hey, what the hell's going on here? Why weren't these people calling this? We're going to pull this up. Michaela says, send some love for Chelsea Grimm. Thank you all for your work. Thank you so much for being here. Again, go over and watch our playlist. We're just trying to get and keep the truth out for Chelsea. I didn't want this to turn into one of these cases that we've heard for the last year of, and I'll call this the trolling, the people that have made ugly content about these victims, ugly content about Dylan and Bethany, ugly content on the families, calling them sons of bitches, that they're just out there in the limelight and they just want to get all the fame from all of this. I didn't want Chelsea's case to turn into that. And there's a lot to speculate about in that case. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to get out ahead of it. That's why I got the case file. That's why I got the body cam footage and we put it out there. We have a very non-cooperative ex-boyfriend that all he does is jabber his mouth on Facebook. He doesn't want to come on the live at all. He doesn't want to face the public. He says he's a country singer and his voice would be recognizable. So that's why he doesn't get on lives. Bullshit. Okay. Complete bullshit. You probably have some details and I've gone on record. I'm not accusing him of anything, but we want to hear about the before and the after. And the before could help fill in some gaps as to Chelsea's state of mind, Chelsea's well-being at that time before she left to go on this cross-country trip to Connecticut. That's all we ever want from you, PJ. Just to tell us about your relationship, because you were the closest person to her in 6 months. You were her boyfriend. All we want to hear is the details from that 6 months leading up to the day that she left. And you also had conversations with her when she was out on her way to Connecticut. We want to hear about those. That information could help fill in some gaps as to finding Chelsea. So everybody else that has been pretty much involved in this case, aside from the family, I have not talked with them directly, but I have talked with friends that are in contact with Sarah. I don't have any of her friends that are in contact with her family, her mother and father, but I talk with someone that is a liaison between me and Sarah, and I've asked questions. Also, I mean, I had PJ's friend Elias on the show. I mean, I gotta listen. I gotta give that guy some credit. At least he had the balls to come on here after he was called out on social media about the $30,000 GoFundMe account that he was all tied into. At least he came on here and went on the record and gave me an interview. I talked to Steve Fisher, who was one of the PIs that were on this case as well. We had a phenomenal interview for about 2 hours just about a week ago. And that gave us some great sense of detail of the things that he worked on, his search and rescue out there. And I don't get it, you know? But again, we wanted to take control of it. We wanted to centralize it and filter good, relevant information about her case and her disappearance through this channel, get the facts out there, show the 55-page police report, make sure it's all transparent. And yes, I did redact information off that report. Of course I did. There is things on there about Chelsea's health. There are things on there about family discussions that go on that don't need to be public. And I said, if you want to find out those details, pay the records request, get that information for yourself, and you can have all the intimate details if that does it for you. But I wanted to protect her. I didn't want any of that information out there because I knew at some point, some other true crime channel would probably go out there and get that and read it live on air. And it wasn't going to happen in this case. I was going to protect her in that sense. So I will keep beating the Chelsea Grim drum until Chelsea comes home. And that's what we're going to do here. That's what I will continue to do here. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you being a subscriber. Thank you for thanking us here, the work that we've put into that case. And we truly do care about Chelsea's well-being. We want her to come home. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, let's get back here to Idaho. Let me just enlarge this a little bit so we can read along. So Mortensen and Bethy Funk.
The aim of
boy.
the Global Fashion Summit this
gonna
year
happen.
is ambition to action. There is an opportunity
Oh boy.
to also
All these
make
pop-up ads are just so fun. All right. This is going to crap out on me here. Where are we? Let's see. Let me get this ad out of the way because it's going to spin and spin and spin. Okay. Monroe said that there's a lot of guilt. They all deserve to be spared from that. Mortensen told police, we already got through that. Then she locked herself in a room and did not emerge until the next morning. Mortensen and Bethy Funk, the other roommates who survived the attack, the other roommate who survived the attack, did not call the police until noon that day, which is given a rise to the trolls attacking. You never really know, and you never think about the online backlash and trolls until you deal with it. And that's really hurtful thing, Monroe said. I challenge anyone to be in a position where they wake up and 4 of their roommates are gone and not even realizing it. People have to understand that these children are very young. They're just kids, and they just in a really traumatizing thing. I just think that people need to have compassion. There's a need for the space and time for all the details to come out in trial. Mortensen's father, Brent, told author and private investigator, of course, we get a pop-up ad. Love these pages, man. There's so many pop-up ads. Mortensen's father, Brent, told author and private investigator Ruben Appelman that she was isolating herself and playing video games to deal with the stress. Appelman told NewsNation in the beginning, weeks after the homicides, she was basically dogpiled on social media. This is part of the trauma that she experienced. Dylan herself is retreated from the public eye, and very few see of her. Mortensen's father has told Appleton that his daughter is in the process of healing despite being hounded by bullies. She is in trauma therapy of sorts. She's getting help from spiritual community, she said, isolating herself, but she's stepping out a little at a time, and she's gaming online with peers in a group gaming session. She's doing what she can without going out into public. So there's some updates on the 2 roommates. Not a whole lot, but we get a better understanding of what's going on in their lives. I'm sure that it's really, really traumatic. It's definitely really, really traumatic. It's an experience that I would never want to go through in my entire life. So, okay. So let's look at Ben Mogan has come out and spoke. And I want to pull that video up here. It's a quick video because I know that we kind of highlight the Goncalves family a lot here on the channel because they are the most vocal, but we'll give a little preview of what Ben had to say about Maddie. Here we go.
Friends with 21-year-old Madison Mogan, who went by Maddie. Some describe them as close as sisters. She was a senior, a marketing major, and a member of the Pi Beta Phi sorority. She loved the color pink and planned to move to Boise after she graduated to be closer to her boyfriend. Her father described her as the light of his life.
She was the best child I could have asked for, and
just want to do this really quick. Just want to recognize the Trail of Destruction. Thank you so much for the 2 donos on Buy Me a Coffee. I really do appreciate that. Thanks for supporting the channel. Appreciate that. All right, let's get back to the video.
yeah, we miss her so much.
Unimaginable grief still feels as fresh as it did 1 year ago on this day. Ben Mogan thinks about his daughter Maddie every single day. In his first interview since his daughter's memorial, Ben Mogan tells me how he finds ways to remember his little angel.
This is the tattoo that I got to remember Maddie.
Maddie Mogan,
She is my little angel.
has always been her dad's angel.
Having her in my life got me through a lot of dark moments.
Maddie is Ben's light, his reason to live.
Well, I wouldn't be here without her.
Here, living his life, but also here
And hot, not iced, please.
at this Coeur d'Alene Starbucks.
The last time that we ever went somewhere together, it was here. There used to be a table right over here, and that's the one that we sat at. Yeah, every time I even drive by here, I think about just how much I wish she was here with us.
Now Maddie's presence is what keeps Ben going.
She was the best child I could have asked for, and yeah, we miss her so much.
How are you doing 1 year after?
Yeah, we're hanging in there. We've spent a lot of time, together and thinking about Maddie and just trying to live our best lives that she would want us to live,
A life honoring the light Maddie started shining since the day she was born.
Bright and funny and just fun. She was a fun person to be around. She always had lots of friends, and yeah, she loved music.
The thing that I want to say, and this is what I think, I think that people have to understand, and I've talked about this all the time, is that your life goes on. These individuals that are connected to the victims, their lives stop. Just kind of frozen in that moment. And then they have to live with this for the rest of their life. This never goes away. Can you imagine Christy and Steve? They will have to live with this every single day of their life. Even if we find out Bryan Kohberger did this or didn't do it. Kaylee is gone. Maddie is gone. Xana is gone. Entin is gone. They're never coming back. The Chapins have to live with that for the rest of their life. The Granodals have to live with that for the rest of their life. That's it. I've been through that. My friend is gone. He's never coming back. My brother is gone. He's never coming back. I think you learn to move on in a certain way, but that always is going to be there at the tip of your tongue, in the back of your mind. It's always there. Or for some people in the forefront of their mind. It doesn't stop. And the horror that you have to live through, every day waiting for that trial to happen, and it's being delayed and being delayed and being delayed, and you don't have the answer, the how and the why. The how and the why. You heard that out of Christy's mouth the other night. The how and the why. I need to know the how and the why. I need to know, as myself right here, the how and the why. I'm sure all of you need to know the how and the why. So like I said, I know that you're all waiting for that opening statement. That is going to be probably one of the most watched opening statements besides the O.J. Simpson trial. I think this trial, the ratings, and actually it's not going to be broadcast, but I'm sure the views are going to triple O.J. Simpson. Triple O.J. Simpson. I'm guaranteeing it's going to be the most watched criminal trial. I think the most watched was O.J., but when all this media comes out about this trial, it's going to be the most watched media trial, criminal trial of all time. Guarantee it. I guarantee it. All right, let's keep playing through here.
Probably got that from me.
Do you remember what it was like hearing that your daughter was
Excuse
going to
me.
be a vandal?
Yeah, I was excited. It was going to be close enough that we'd be able to see her. You know, she could come home on weekends, and yeah, but still, it was going to be far enough away that she could feel like she was living her own life and being independent.
Last spring, Maddie earned her posthumous degree in marketing.
I hereby confer upon Madison May Mogan the posthumous degree earned.
They didn't just give it to her because they were trying to be nice. She earned all those credits, and she actually she got that degree. And yeah, we're so proud of her still.
Her father seems like one of the nicest guys too. It's just truly tragic. I mean, he's been this demeanor through the whole thing. I mean, it's sad. It's very, very sad.
She had such a bright future ahead of her.
Thank you for the donos on Buy Me Coffee. I really do appreciate it. The last one that came through, I didn't see who put that there, but if you want to be recognized, you can, but I'll call them out when I see them. So thank you. I appreciate it. That's direct support right to the to me as the creator. It's not where YouTube burns us, but thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. And I do have memberships on there. So if anybody wants to sign up for a monthly membership, you can hit the monthly membership tab over there and donate directly just through a membership as well, too, like we do the memberships here. Okay, we'll keep playing through here.
And yeah, we just miss her every day.
Every day since he first got the call 1 year ago.
I got a couple calls, one from my mom and then one from Karen, and they're right back to back. I mean, the worst things came to my head, but it still wasn't as bad as what it ended up being.
That day we remember, November 13th, cold and dark, both literally and metaphorically.
Yeah, it's just horrific. I hope no one ever has to go through something like that.
But now even Maddie's name, Maddie May, a symbol of light and kindness.
Maddie May Day is something that my sisters came up with. We just wanted to have her birthday, May 25th, be a day that we celebrate and that makes people's lives better in the name of Maddie May.
A bright spring day that Maddie's legacy makes even brighter.
And so every year on that day, we're going to just do a random act of kindness.
Spreading the light Maddie touched so many with.
I'll have people come up to me even now, a year later, and say, hey, I just wanted to tell you how much Maddie meant to me. I didn't realize how many lives that she was able to touch in her short life.
Where are you in the stages of grief right now?
I've been able to keep my head up. It's really easy to spiral down after something like this.
365 days missing milestones with his Maddie May. It's why he holds things like this close to his heart.
She wrote, Happy Father's Day. I hope you have the best day. I can't wait till we can hang out again soon.
This was the last Father's Day card Maddie gave her dad.
It's crazy. Like you think about like the photo that came to Christy, you know, of that I don't want to say famous, but that infamous photo that we got of all the roommates together. And she said, you know, it's just crazy. Like I get that. And then I look 12 hours from there, my daughter is dead and her best friend is dead and her two roommates are dead. And it's just unbelievable. You would just never think about that. It's just crazy.
I'm proud of how far you've come. Thank you for always encouraging me to do my best. Love you lots and lots, Maddie May. My mom got me a little silver angel wing to remind me that Maddie's always with me. When I feel that she's looking down on me or that she's there with me, I say it out loud. I say, I love you, Maddie, or I say, hi, Maddie, or something like that, so that maybe she can know that I'm thinking about her and how often I think about her. Because there's not she's always on my heart.
Her presence lighting Ben's path, even 1 year later.
Yeah, so I tell her hi multiple times a day, and maybe she knows.
Again, I just want to take a moment to say thank you, Ben. Thank you for sharing your daughter's story with us. I know it was very difficult to talk about this, but your daughter's legacy will live on, and we appreciate you being vulnerable and open to talk with us.
Oh boy.
Today, the family plans to meet together to remember Maddie. They plan to gather, share a meal together, and talk about her legacy and how they want Maddie remembered.
Okay. So again, I wanted to highlight that we talk about the Goncalves family a lot here, and it's just nice to see some of the other families opening up a little bit now and being a little bit more vocal. And again, it takes time to do that, and some families don't want to do that. I mean, we heard about the Chapins that they weren't going to really be in the public eye, but they've opened up a lot more as kind of time has gone on, and maybe that's part of the healing process. And everybody has done their organizations and put things out there, and it's just nice to see all of that, and people grieve and talk about this in different ways, and just to keep supporting these families until this trial gets into the trial and it ends, and we have some type of conclusion whether Bryan Kohberger is going to be held responsible for these murders or if he's not. And if he's not the person, and the evidence points in the direction that he is 100% innocent in this, then we still have a big issue out there, because there's someone out there walking around, someone or some people are out there, and they are responsible for this, and we need to find them. Okay, let's pull up this video here talking about key witnesses to testify in Bryan Kohberger's quadruple homicide trial.
Since 4
War on Crime
University
Network.
of Idaho students were brutally stabbed to death in a horrific home invasion that shocked the country. Entin Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Kaylee Goncalves, and Madison Mogen were discovered slaughtered inside their off-campus home on Kings Road in Moscow, Idaho. A 7-week manhunt ended in the arrest of a PhD student who studied in a nearby town. Bryan Kohberger was cuffed thousands of miles away from the crime scene at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. The former PhD student declined to offer a plea at his arraignment and has since waived his right to a speedy trial, meaning the trial has been put on pause indefinitely. But what can we expect when what could be the case of the century begins? According to former prosecutor, now criminal defense attorney Matthew Mangino, the case has been built on a lot of circumstantial evidence.
And that doesn't mean that you can't prove a circumstantial case. Certainly, many cases are proved without direct eyewitnesses and other things. What I would like to see here, obviously, is connecting the dots. We know that there's telephone evidence. His cell phone, Bryan Kohberger's cell phone, was in the area of where these murders occurred. We know there's videotape, that surveillance cameras,
Hey,
home
what everybody
cameras.
forgets about? And I just thought about this today. Everybody seems to forget about that Albertsons video, that he was spotted at Albertsons, and they're going to have video of that, and it's going to come out at the trial, and we're going to have to see how he when he gets there, and what his motions are, and what his demeanor is, and what did he go there to buy, and what was he looking at when he went there. I think a lot of people forget about that, and that's been kind of lost in the shuffle here. And I started thinking about that the other day. That Albertson video, when he went to Albertsons the next day, what are we going to find in that? What are we going to find in that? Why did he go there? What did he buy? Did he buy bleach? Did he buy some cleaning products? Did he buy gloves or what, whatever, paper towels? I'm going to be curious to see, and we're going to be able to look, and they're going to play that video in court and see what his demeanor was or what he did. It's very interesting. All right, let's keep playing through here.
traffic cameras have captured his vehicle, this white Elantra. And then we know that there is DNA evidence, although it's very minute. It's on a sheath that was found at the crime scene, and it was matched through genealogy DNA, and ultimately, when he was arrested, DNA was drawn, and there is a match between the two. So, how did that get there? How did the police, know to move forward with the genealogical investigation of independent businesses, and ultimately, how did they make that match? So those are all questions that I think jurors are going to want to hear. How do you connect all these dots together?
The state has touted the use of DNA to build its case, which detectives say linked Kohberger directly to the crime scene. The biggest link? DNA discovered on the button snap of a knife sheath found near the body of Madison
Not even close to
Mogan
the
and
knife. That's
Kaylee
goofy.
Goncalves.
That's a goofy
Bradley Mangino
B-roll.
says this DNA will play a crucial role in the trial, but it's not the only hand the prosecutors could deal.
What we also know is that this is a very minute piece of DNA that was on this sheath that matches him. How does that place him there? Is there any other explanation for this DNA being found there? Is this potentially just touch DNA, which is a very small amount of DNA that could have been transferred by who knows what means as part of this investigation? I also look for there to be a lot of talk about the lack of DNA evidence. And we know that there is no DNA evidence, or at least that's what we know from media reports, that there's no DNA evidence that was found in Kohberger's vehicle from any of the victims in this case, and no other DNA evidence found in his apartment from any of the victims of this case. So that's going to be significant because we know that this was a
But I'm going to tell you, they show him going to Albertson and buying bleach. Because you got to think, he had almost 30 days. They show him going to Albertson and buying bleach. I don't know. Cards be stacking up. The cards be stacking up, in my opinion. The cards be stacking up.
A brutal massacre of these 4 young college students, and there was a lot of blood
there.
And typically, you might find some trace of blood somewhere with a defendant when you have so much of it from 4 victims here. I don't think it's going to be all about DNA and science. I think that's going to play a role. It's not as though you have blood smears of Kohberger, on the apartment wall and in his car or something like that. That you don't have that. Okay. You do have his DNA there for some, if you're the defense, some inexplicable reason, but you're also going to challenge, how it got there and how it led to his arrest in this case. And was there probable cause even to arrest him based on this information? Now, we have a match from a later DNA sample from him, but how did you get to that point? And so that's going to happen during trial. There's going to be a lot made of that during the pre-trial. We already saw a challenge to the grand jury instructions, which the court denied. But there are going to be a lot of challenges to the evidence. At this point, we don't even know what evidence is all.
I don't think this is going to be a very straightforward trial. It's going to get really ugly in that courtroom once this thing gets going. I'm already going to tell you. People are going to be throwing mud from both sides. Lawyers from both sides are going to be slinging mud. Big time slinging.
Ultimately going to be admissible in this case. That's going to be decided through motions in limine and other types of pretrial motions before we ever get to picking a jury.
The next piece to the puzzle for prosecutors, possible witnesses to the crime itself. We know 2 other roommates were at the off-campus apartment when the murders occurred. Investigators say one of the roommates came face to face with the killer.
It's certainly going to be an important piece of the trial. It's certainly going to be something that's going to be presented to this jury. But, it has the potential, almost, to work, in both ways, for the prosecution and for the defense.
According to a police affidavit, Dylan Moritzen came face to face with the alleged killer moments after the gruesome stabbings of her friends. Moritzen told police she opened her door after hearing someone crying and saw a figure in black clothing and a mask that covered that person's nose and mouth walking toward her. She described the figure as someone 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The affidavit goes on to state Moritzen stood in shock, then locked herself in her room after seeing the man who she says she didn't recognize.
I mean, certainly she can't identify the person. She didn't know the person. The person vaguely falls in line with the stature of Bryan Kohberger. But if you're on the defense, you're going to say, hey, this guy was there, and number one, no one tried to stop him. No one did anything to identify him. No one even immediately called the authorities, called the police. When you observe this strange person with a mask on, dressed in black, leaving your apartment after you heard some talk that raised your suspicion about what was going on in the hallway. So this can cut both ways. We have to remember that the onus, the burden is on the prosecution. And the prosecution has to prove this case, as in every criminal case, beyond a reasonable doubt. Now
I'm telling you, there's so much under that gag that is going to flip people's minds when the opening statement and everything just gets opened. I'm telling you. Why, like Carrie was saying, why would there be a gag order in place if there wasn't more things going on behind the scenes and in this trial? If there's other things that they don't want out there right now, that don't want to be talked about, that could compromise the trial for either side, innocence or guilt. So I'm telling you, your mouth is going to drop. Your mouth is going to drop in that opening statement.
That's not an easy thing to define, even for
yes,
someone
ball
like
gag
myself who's practiced both
ball gag.
criminal defense and as a
Good evening,
prosecutor. But things like, why didn't you call the police until noon the following, later that morning, 8 hours after there was this confrontation with, or at least the observation of someone leaving, strange noises being in there, those kind of things tend to cloud the case, and they tend to make jurors think about things that maybe the prosecution doesn't want them to, or maybe aren't really relevant. People react to trauma in many different ways, and seeing someone walking out of your apartment at 4 a.m. is a traumatic experience. So we don't always know how, each individual is going to react to something like that. But I think that the fact that the police were never called until noon, and that the reason for the call was somebody was unresponsive or passed out. I mean, those things.
Thank you for the donations through Buy Me a Coffee. I really do appreciate it. That goes directly to the channel. 95% of your donation goes directly to the channel, 5% to the actual site that takes it. So I appreciate that. Kind of cuts off the YouTube stuff a little bit, where YouTube kind of whacks us and takes 30%. We got to pay taxes, all that fun stuff. So I appreciate you on the Buy Me Coffee. I really do appreciate that. If anybody wants to donate, you can. I've been dropping the link throughout the show. Click on that link. It's a direct donation. And I also have memberships on there too. If you want to support monthly, instead of doing it through YouTube, you can do that as well. I do appreciate it. All right, let's keep playing on here. We got a while to go. I'm going to be here a little while tonight.
Water murky when, as a prosecutor, you want jurors to focus in and zero in on the important issues in the case. I'd like to hear from
That's
the
completely true.
neighbors that came over the next day, who were, called over because they couldn't find the other four who
It's like we're saying the other night, they've held up a lot of Kaylee's electronics. They still haven't gotten it back yet. And one of the electronics that's been held up is that Bluetooth speaker. Why? Why? Did Kohberger's phone at some point connect to Kaylee's Bluetooth speaker? I'm not saying on the night of the murders, but it could have been prior to that. We know that his phone has been in and around that house in that area 12 times. And I showed you right now, my friends, and we'll talk about it really quick. This is all the devices my phone is trying to connect to. These aren't my devices. These are my neighbors. And it's pinging that right now to get a connection. It's pinging all that. And then let's just say even Wi-Fi. Those are all the Wi-Fi in the area that my phone is trying to connect with right now. Those 5 or 6 right there. So could it have been? It made a connection at some point? Possibly.
been murdered, or they were worried about where they were. I just like to get, I'd like to hear their perspective on it. What exactly they observed when they came there, and what the demeanor was of the surviving roommates and things like that. Was there genuine concern, or what was the circumstance? So I think that would be important. And is there anybody who, and we don't know this, and this investigation is going to continue. I mean, is there anything about Bryan Kohberger that a witness could tell us that might provide some insight about him, or his frame of mind, or what he was interested in at the time? Those all, just like your click history on your computer, but you're looking up things you're interested, you want to know about. You're also talking about those things sometimes too. And that's important to know as well.
Next up for the evidence is cell phone data and surveillance footage, some of which was shared to the media as a desperate plea from police to the public for help. Detectives say a review of
when that
nearby
video came
surveillance
out.
footage showed multiple sightings of a white Hyundai Elantra that made 3 passes of the Kings Road home before entering the area for a 4th time shortly after 4 a.m. Police
Excuse
traced
me.
the car's travel to nearby Pullman, Washington, where Kohberger lived while attending Washington State. Plus, get this. Kohberger's phone was also tracked to Moscow before and after the attack, but his phone was off from 2:47 a.m. to 4:48 a.m., which was when investigators say the murders
They
happened.
still haven't.
I think it's the
They
most.
still haven't gotten her laptop back. They still haven't gotten it. The Goncalves family just said the other night they still have all her electronics. So are we going to find the possible connection to the how or the why? Was there a connection with Kaylee and Bryan Kohberger? It's possible. Maybe they had some communication. All along, everybody said that they thought it was Kaylee. And there's things that point to that they think it's Maddie. But I think it's one of those 2 girls, most definitely. And I've now changed my opinion about it. I go back to Kaylee because Christy said the other night when we watched that interview, and if you missed the stream, you can go back and watch. Goncalves family speaks out for the first time and gave Brian Entin over. It was an hour and 15-minute interview, uncut, unedited. And she talked about, we still don't have all her electronics. They have it. And they took out the computer in her Range Rover. They looked it over and downloaded all that information. I'm sure they're going to download all the information from Kohberger's Elantra as well. But they said all of Kaylee's electronics are still out there. They still have her phone. They still have the Bluetooth speaker, which I find very odd. She had 2 laptops that they've had possession of. So what is it? And we've heard multiple things, multiple stories out there. We heard once of an OnlyFans. We heard maybe this is possibly off a dating app. Or was this just a straight stalking case where he found her on some social media app and just kept stalking her, Instagram, whatever. And again, I'm just speculating. But I find it interesting that her electronics are still held up that they haven't gotten. Yeah, Bryan Kohberger's Fire Stick. Hazel makes a good point. Yeah, Micro says possibly he connected without knowing for sure. He left a digital footprint. That might be. But I think, in my opinion here, it's all gonna tie in together. And I think we're gonna get a very, 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 very clear picture of what happened. Okay, let's keep playing. I love this engagement. You guys are awesome tonight. Or guys and ladies, sorry. I love the engagement. Really, really good stuff from the audience tonight. Really good stuff. Awesome. Really good stuff. I'm not sure what the speaker was. I don't think they ever really explained that, JG. I don't think they ever explained that, but we definitely know it had Bluetooth. Definitely know we had Bluetooth. All right, let's keep playing through.
Important evidence in the case because it puts him there. It puts him in the area. It puts him there before the murders occurred, as you know, as those maybe.
You know what I was like? I love all like these, and I'm not picking on a guy, but I just think it's funny. All these people that come on like news channels and they give their, these experts that come on and they give their expert opinion. They always have a bookshelf behind them. like they read all those books. You didn't fucking read all those books. Believe me, you didn't read all those books. It's all for show. They always do this, try to make themselves look like really smart. And God bless him. He's probably a lawyer. He probably did have to read some of them, but I always just find it funny.
Casing the place. He's trying to make a plan for when he's ultimately going to carry out these murders. So that's extremely important. And of course, for the prosecution, his DNA on this sheath in the apartment is extremely important, unless at some point the defense can show that there was some relationship between him and somebody in the apartment.
Wheels thinks that he was just dumb and he didn't think about it, quite possibly. Maybe he wanted this to come out. Maybe this was the ultimate thrill crime for him. There are people that are sick like that out there. Some people do this for a purpose within themselves.
Or that he had been to the apartment. And I don't know that there's anything at this point that indicates that. It provides some context if it fits into a timeline that's important in this case. Of course, these searches, they're searching or have already searched every single click that Bryan Kohberger has made on his computer prior to these murders, and even subsequent to them, because that's important as well. There's a lot of small, maybe what may seem insignificant individually, which is important when you're painting this overall picture of a heinous crime being committed. And it's going to be the prosecution's job to connect all these dots in the most effective and easiest manner to understand, so the jurors can follow along and say, hey, well, that didn't seem real important yesterday, but now that I know this, that's important. And you keep building on this sort of puzzle, this landscape that you want to paint for the jurors to understand exactly what happened here.
I'm going to pause this and back out, because pretty much all the similar stuff that we did, that we've heard about already. What I want to get to is we have, what's the next one I wanted to get to? We have Shannon Gray, the Goncalves' family attorney. I want to just play a little bit of what he had to say on the year anniversary. We'll hear what he has to say, talking about the case.
1 year marker. Steve Goncalves told our Chanley Painter, this isn't an anniversary. It's something that they must be thinking, but this is by no means some sort of time to, it does not It's not a celebration. It's not an anniversary in that type of event. So how are they handling today, and what are they doing? Are they going to the vigil in Moscow, or just staying together as a family? What can you share?
Yeah, well, I think we just wanted to call it a Remembrance Day rather than some sort of anniversary. It's less about an anniversary and more about just remembering the victims of this tragic crime. You know, the families hunkering down at home, you know, hugging and loving on each other and taking care of each other. You know, plan to be out, and we're not going to be going to the Idaho event that I think is happening tonight. So.
Okay, fair enough. And that's why I asked. I thought maybe that was the case. How does the gag order affect you and the family? In a typical case, you know, prosecutors and victim family members are very close, a lot of communication, especially during the crucial time leading up to trial. How does the gag order change that sort of dynamic, or does it?
Well, I mean, you know, from the get-go in this investigation, we were critical of the investigation. We were just trying to hold people accountable. You know, if we thought there was something that was going wrong or there's something that should have been said, you know, having meetings with the prosecution and things like that. And from the beginning, it really has never been a very good line of communication. And so, you know, you get involved in it and you hope that there's a better line of communication that develops throughout the process, but it hasn't been so. You know, I think that, you know, the idea that victims' families have a voice and should have a voice is something that's important to all victims of crimes. And that, you know, the Goncalves family has done a wonderful job of doing that, putting their word out. You know, I feel, you know, saving the Idaho house, you know, getting there. The university was making plans to demolish the house. The family's always thought it was a massive piece of evidence in this case. And, you know, we voiced our concern of us and some of the other families as well. And now it's not being demolished, which is important because a few weeks ago, they sent some more investigators back in there to gather some additional information. And so, you know, it's important for our victims' families to have voices. And in this case, they've kept it so quiet on all fronts that we don't get any information that the public does. Where we get the same thing that you get when they make a statement or a release of information. They might give us a heads up of a few hours or maybe the day before, but you know, the non-dissemination order precludes me from commenting about anything on the case since I'm the attorney involved and I'm governed by a lot of things. I'm governed by rules of professional conduct, regarding trial publicity, things like that. But the non-dissemination.
I'm going to tell you right now, too, that the Goncalves family, the reason they got Shannon Gray, and this is just in my opinion, too, is that if Kohberger gets put away for this crime, they're going to go after him civilly, too, just like they did with O.J. Simpson. And I even think that if even Kohberger gets off and they can present this evidence at a civil trial and sue him civilly, if he goes on to make, right, let's just say Kohberger gets off, okay? Excuse me, because this is what happened in the civil trial, O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson got off and was sued civilly, and I forget what the settlement was. It was you know, it was definitely probably 20 million or something like that, which he still has not paid a dime to this date. He hasn't paid the Brown family and the and I'm sorry, the other family's name, the young man that was killed, Goldman family, hasn't paid them one dime. But what's going to happen is if Kohberger gets off, and you know what he's going to do, he's going to write a book. He's going to have a Netflix series. They're going to sue his ass. So any money that he makes off any of this fame, they will get. And he'll have to pay them restitution because just like, you know, I said in OJ, they didn't get him on the criminal, but they got him civilly. And that, again, that guy hasn't paid them one dime. And he structures it around, and I know it's like something to do with his NFL benefits and his I think he continues to get kind of like a, not really a 401k, but like a pension from the NFL, and they're not allowed to touch that. And I think he gets like $300,000 or $400,000 a year for the rest of his life. But this guy O.J. Simpson hasn't paid them one dime and still owes them. Let me look. I think he still owes them. How much does... Let me look. Let's see. So the Goldman father, Fred, recently alleged in court papers intended to keep the judgment viable that Simpson now owes $96 million. That's because these amounts, generally significant interest, especially in relation to the rates otherwise available to consumers. So right now, he currently owes $96 million to the Goldman family and hasn't paid them $1 of that money because he's always found ways to skate around paying this money. All right, let's keep playing.
Termination order really puts a hamper on what I can say in regards to any evidence or anything that's going on with the case. But the family is open to comment on those things. So
the house, so is that
and I still think that if Kohberger is convicted in the criminal, they're still, either way, they're going after him civilly. I'm going to tell you right now, either way, they're going to go after him civilly, because if he gets off, he's going to write a book, he's going to make a movie, all that shit. They're going to go after him. Even if he's found guilty, they're still going to go after him. And they're going to probably go after him. They're probably going to go after the father, knowing that the father drove back to Pennsylvania with them and what kind of conversation they have. I'm telling you, they're going to go after everything. They're going to bury the Kohbergers if he's convicted, or even if he isn't convicted. They're just setting it up. So Wheel says OJ had money, Brian. Doesn't, unless he writes a book. Simpson only paid $123,000 according to the Goldmans. Oh wow. But he still owes $96 million. Hey, how are you? So Cool Mom says, following from Turtle Boy, hey, thanks for being here. Appreciate you being here tonight. But yeah, I mean, still owes them a significant amount of money. Yeah, but they're going to go after everybody, I'm telling you.
Sure, they're not going to be touched, because we all thought once the FBI was back doing some imaging that there was a chance that they were doing that for a reason. And at the end of the day, they may use that instead of a jury view. But is that now determined this will stay until the trial's over?
I mean, that's our understanding. I mean, when we were pushing to not have it demolished, we were waiting until trial. So the mere fact that the FBI came in and did some additional investigation is great for the investigation, but I don't think that changes the circumstances surrounding the demolition of the house. The University of Idaho has not notified us that they will be demoing that house anytime soon. And we understand, I think all the families understand, that house will be up until this trial is over with. And if they want to try to demo it, we're going to...
I don't know if you know, Micro, how long you've been around. I was sick for 10 days. I was literally in bed for like 5. I'm just getting my health back, but this thing will not clear up. We're
going to do our best to stop them again. So
yeah.
So many people have watched this unfold from the time hearing of the murders and then the investigation and the arrest. The Goncalves family, they've said publicly a bunch of times. And Steve, they did the paying it forward for Kaylee's birthday, going around and thanking local businesses. For the families, give us a sense of what kind of outpouring they have been recipients of, and to what degree has it helped, or has it? I guess, I mean, they have to, they're dealing with something we can just not even get our heads around.
Well, I think in these situations, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. You get an enormous amount of support and effort from a lot of people, and then you get a lot of criticism. When you get out in the media and you start speaking your truth, and you start saying the things that you think are important to the investigation or important to the case itself, you're going to have a lot of people that just say, hey, shut up, go back, take your role as a victim, which never really never really understand that, the idea that you become a victim of a crime and then you're just supposed to be silent about everything, and then trust that everything is going to be going according to plans. And it's hard when you don't have the best line of communication with the prosecution to know what is going on with the case. And so it might be a different, they might be in a different boat if we knew exactly what was going on with the investigation, all the things that were concerned, how they were moving forward, all this evidence that they have, things like that, might be different, but it's not that in this case. So they put themselves out there to keep this story in front of everyone in America.
Thank you for being here, though. We don't. Yeah, I don't really do many Idaho streams because there really hasn't been that much new information. But when some new stuff comes out, we'll do it. I don't want to keep banging in this drum over here. I mean, I think we're just all anticipating and getting this to trial. There are still many, many creators that do live streams and videos on this like every single day. There's one creator that I know that drops literally about 7 videos a day on Idaho. I mean, you're not solving this case any further. You're not going to be able to figure anything out and see, just in my opinion. So, but we'll do these every once in a while when stuff gets updated or some new legal documents hit or something like that, or we want to go back and review a little bit with some new information. So we'll just keep playing through this. We got about another 2 minutes, and then we're gonna go to probably the one video that I wanted to fully get to in this here, the 5 most damning pieces of evidence against Bryan Kohberger.
And in the media, because the media wants the next best thing, and you may have something that's important to you, but it fades with the media. And so if you don't keep on it and keep the voice out there for the victims, in this case, Kaylee and Xana and Maddie and Ethan, and you want to hear their names over and over again, then it's important to do that. So.
Absolutely. When there's no trial date here, how difficult was it for them when he waived time and they pushed it into the netherworld of sometime next year? And how are you helping them through this process? Because victim families don't realize the slow wheels of justice, how truly slow they can be.
Well, I think we suspected that from the get-go. We suspected that he would be waiving his speedy trial rights. So it wasn't a huge surprise to us. When you waive your speedy trial rights, you're for lack of a better term sometimes, and I'm a criminal defense attorney. I was a former prosecutor myself. When someone wants to have a speedy trial, sometimes they're playing a little bit of chicken with the prosecution because they want to see what you have and how fast you can get it done. But yeah, you get all that evidence as a defense attorney, but then you have to really present and organize the case yourself. And that's hard to do in a short time frame. You want to get everything organized because you're only going to get one bite at the apple. So it was something we suspected. They were disappointed, obviously, that it didn't go at that time frame. I think right now the family is more disappointed that there's not a current trial date set on this case. It's a year out, and I think that's something that gives them, when you have a trial date, you have something to look forward to. You have a time and place where justice can be served, where you can plan for things, where there might be a resolution date where you can say, hey, after this date, we can kind of move on with our lives to a certain degree, as much as you can. But when you don't have anything like that, and it's still just kind of out in the wind, until some of these motions and things get resolved, it's difficult for the families.
I bet it is. Shannon Gray represents the Goncalves family. Our thoughts are with the Goncalveses and the other victim families on this date. And we won't call it an anniversary as well. It'll be a day of remembering. Shannon Gray, thank you so much for your time.
Okay, let's just back out of this. Let's go up really quick. I'm keeping an eye on this fluid situation right now. I was just tipped off here in the chat. Thank you for giving this to me. There is an active shooter warning right now. It says crews respond to active shooter at Beaver Creek Walmart. It was updated about a minute ago. So it says police were called Monday night to a shooting at Beaver Creek Walmart. The Beaver Creek Police Department confirmed they responded to an active shooter at 3360 Pentagon Boulevard. And it says here from the Beaver Creek Police Department, police are on scene of a shooting that occurred at Walmart in Beaver Creek this evening. The building has been cleared and secure. There are no active threat at this time. Beaver Creek police are investigating and will release additional information. So this is not an active situation. It has been cleared. Law enforcement from multiple jurisdictions in Greene, Montgomery, Clark counties responded to the store, which was evacuated. According to the reports, there were at least 3 gunshot victims. One witness outside the store said the shooter had a backpack, Jesus, man, and was holding a rifle as he walked by her before opening fire. She said in the video posted on X, formerly Twitter, Wright State University alerted students and staff to stay away from Beaver Creek Walmart for an active incident. According to the university, Wild Communication, there is currently an active incident. So as of right now, it has been cleared. The Beaverton Creek Walmart is the same store where 22-year-old John Crawford III, this is unbelievable, and failed for shot and killed on August 5th, 2014 by an officer holding a BB gun for sale in the store. The officer involved shooting followed reports from 911 that Crawford was talking on the cell phone and been pointing the weapon and threatening shoppers. Jeez, man. Let me go to X. Let me just see if we have any updates. I don't have any updates on YouTube. I'm going to go to X and see if there's anything trending. Wow, unbelievable right now, though. Bryan Kohberger, the hashtag, is trending on Twitter. Let me just take a look here. We do have some breaking news on, let me pull up X. Let's take a look real quick, and then we will go back to the Kohberger. This is from Crime with Bobby. Breaking unconfirmed active shooter shooting at Walmart, Beaver Creek. Here's a video here.
It was a tall, young, white guy. He had an army book bag on, and I swear I was confused. Like, I thought he had a BB gun. It was like a long assault rifle. He just started shooting after he walked past me. Like, I had my mom and my grandma was watching over me, because how did that even happen? I called 911 before, and I couldn't even get through. My nerves are shot right now. I'm scared to walk closer. How does this even happen?
Okay.
If you guys know anybody who's at Beaver Creek Walmart right now, call and check on your people. It's literally just shopping for Thanksgiving stuff. And this guy walked right past me with an assault rifle. And he started shooting. I don't know if he shot people or if people are dead or what is going on, but I ran. So if you guys know anybody that's in Walmart right now, call and check on them, because he shot like 10 times and I don't even know how much more afterwards, but I just know I'm so lucky to be alive. He literally walked right past me.
That's heartbreaking.
He walked right past me. He walked right past me, Cameron. I was scared. I thought you were inside. How do people do stuff like this?
Can you see what happened?
He walked right past me. He walked right past me. And he walked right past me. He walked past me and I looked at him because he had an assault rifle in his hand. And I was on the phone with Matt. And I said,
It's like that person
this guy
controlling her,
has
that's
an
very
assault
nice.
rifle in
It's
Walmart.
like he's rubbing her
And I
shoulder.
looked back and then I just heard gunshots. And I just ran. And then all I heard was gunshots. Oh.
Wow. Intense. Let's go to.
If you guys know anybody who's it,
I think Mary said that it is secure right now, which is great. Active shooter, Walmart. Do not go to Beaver Creek Walmart. Testimony from person that was inside Walmart shooting happened in Beaver Creek. So it looks like it has been multiple victims. Suspect reportedly killed himself in the store. This is a developing situation. Okay, so that guy is gone and has unalived himself. So see you later. Goodbye. Another coward that just comes out and ruins people's lives and then decides to, do this to themselves after they've ruined lives. So these people need to be scrubbed out of our society. You should not be here amongst us. If you're going to hurt yourself, do it on yourself. Don't take out other people in your wake to cause more trauma. So fuck you, you fucking coward. That poor girl's traumatized for the rest of her life because of this dickhead. Then he's going to go in and shoot a bunch of people and then take his own life. So fuck yourself. I don't want to give anybody, I'm not even going to give any credence to that fucking moron. All right, let's move on here. Hopefully that young lady's okay. All right, so 5 most damaging pieces of evidence, and I want to see if you all agree. I'm going to do this before we start this. Don't vote yet, okay? Or if you want to vote halfway through this, I will say that. Let's see. All right. Let's see. I'm going to give you 2 choices. 2 choices. 2 choices on this one. 2 choices. All right. Don't vote yet. You got to at least hear some of the video. Don't vote. I don't want to see any votes. Good. No votes yet. We got to watch a little bit of the video. Okay, here we go.
A complaint was filed yesterday in Utah County, charging the defendant, Mr. Kohberger, with 4 counts of first-degree murder, in addition to felony burglary.
It has been a year since 4 University of Idaho students were viciously stabbed to death in a rental home near campus. But what does the prosecution have in their case against accused killer Bryan Kohberger? We sit down with Brian Entin, senior national correspondent for NewsNation, to talk about the most damning pieces of evidence in the case. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. We have covered this case extensively here on.
Just coming in, I just dropped the link to buy me a coffee. If you want to support the channel directly, you can go right to that link and support me directly. All right, let's keep playing.
Sidebar. And it is one that has captured the attention of the entire world. It's kind of strange to think that it has been a full year since all this happened. But on November 13, 2022,
a little bit of the video.
Entin Chapin, Zana Kernodle, Kaylee Goncalves, and Madison Mogen were all found stabbed to death inside of a large off-campus rental house at the University of Idaho. 2 other roommates were unharmed. There was a massive police investigation as basically the entire Moscow Police Department started looking for who could have done this. And it really rocked the entire community. And after about 6 weeks after the murders, police arrested 28-year-old Washington State University doctoral student Bryan Kohberger at his parents' home in Pennsylvania, where he was spending Christmas break. He was actually a criminology student at the time. Now, they extradited him back to Idaho, charged him with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary. A grand jury looked over the evidence that prosecutors collected and indicted Bryan Kohberger. The state announced that it will be seeking the death penalty.
Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
Kohberger's legal team announced he was standing silent, and Judge John Judge entered a not guilty plea on his behalf. Kohberger also decided to waive his right to a speedy trial, which blew apart any chance of this trial starting in October as originally planned. The accused killer is behind bars in the small town of Moscow, Idaho, currently awaiting trial. But the question now is, how strong is the actual evidence against him? Well, to answer that, let me bring in Bryan Entin, NewsNation senior national correspondent who has been covering this case from the very beginning. Bryan is actually in Idaho 1 year later. Bryan, it's great to see you. First off, what is it like being back there? And it's hard to imagine just 1 year has gone by. Pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's really weird to think about it. Sorry, we're actually driving now. My producer's driving. We're driving over to where there's going to be a vigil on campus later today. But yeah, it just feels kind of surreal. I think the town is still very much like coping with everything, especially since, the legal process is ongoing. The trial has been delayed. They thought maybe it would happen this year. It's now not happening. So it's kind of like everyone here is in this weird limbo. Like they want to try and move on somewhat, but it's really hard to do that when, Bryan Kohberger is in the jail here and there's still this long court process ahead.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a strange feeling. And I'll tell you the first, I didn't think that a year from when he was arrested, we were going to see a trial. I'm not surprised by that. This case is quite complex. The death penalty eligible case. I think there's a lot at stake here. And that's what I wanted to bring you on, because if anybody knows about the evidence in this case, it is you. You've been doing terrific reporting. So let's go through some of the evidence here and what to make of it. I'm going to start with the DNA. Arguably one of the biggest pieces of evidence that we know the prosecutors have against Kohberger. He's, of course, innocent until proven guilty, but the Latah County prosecutors, they need to have the goods if they were going to win the case. And you talk about the DNA. We know that authorities were able to make a familial match from the DNA on a knife sheath found at the crime scene to Kohberger's father. They did this by collecting trash from outside the Kohberger home in Pennsylvania. And then after Kohberger was arrested, authorities took a cheek swab from him. And then the court documents reveal that the DNA recovered from the sheath is almost an identical match to Kohberger. But Bryan, the defense has been saying not so fast, right? They're saying that there's been a lot of fighting between the prosecutors and the defense over what's called investigative genetic genealogy, or IgG.
Yeah, it's a new science. It's really interesting. The IgG, the investigative genetic genealogy. We were actually just in Idaho like about a week ago for hearing about it.
Hey there, everybody. I want to talk to you about something that I am super excited about.
But we're not going to talk about it here on LTL Podcast because we're not sponsored. So we're going to skip that. All right, let's keep playing.
Judge has set a deadline of December 1st to get all of this DNA evidence in, to look at it, to see what can be used.
Hopefully one
there
day
were actually some
have the opportunity to go, hey, friends, you know what I want to talk to you about? This great product from blank. I get a sponsor. That'd be great.
Arguments that were made at a motions hearing on August 18th about this.
Well, my understanding was that the state did provide all the information about the
Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate that.
Laboratory DNA that was that analysis was not related to the genealogy DNA. Am I mistaken about that? What do you say that they didn't provide something?
Your Honor, in our third motion to compel, we had a section called Standard Lab Discovery, and that has to do with other DNA profiles found at the scene. They have provided full discovery for the DNA found on the knife sheet, but not the other
with our mask on
unidentified male DNA samples to go within the house from outside of that.
All right. So if I'm understanding your question there, or your assertion that we're talking about three
the logo at the bottom. Oh, the LTL? Yeah. Thank you.
DNA that was not provided.
I haven't completely settled on a logo yet.
Connection to Mr. Kohberger.
Correct.
Any response?
I haven't done this in a while.
Your Honor, we didn't realize this was going to be an issue today. We had given the defense everything that we received from the lab. They'd asked for DNA workups on other people. To the extent that they don't have them, they weren't done. We can't produce something that doesn't exist. We provided everything. There's one outstanding lab report that relates to the forensic examination by the lab personnel of the crime scene itself. Will be received today. That's the only outstanding lab report. Everything else, along with all the notes, is what there is and provide defense. And if they're hoping that there's something else there, it's not there.
Right. You know, I'm looking at this and I'm trying to think how much of a slam dunk is the DNA evidence, because Brian, it's my understanding, I've heard the defense may argue that this was a party house, that of course Bryan Kohberger was at the house.
Excuse me.
No wonder his DNA would be there. And it's possible there was other people's DNA maybe at that crime scene. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've known from the beginning that it's a party house, that a lot of people went in and out of the house. The neighbors told us that from the beginning. What we don't know is if Bryan Kohberger has ever been to that house before. There's so much with the gag order and the evidence that we don't know about at this point. And I think that something that could possibly come out at the trial, if they can prove that Bryan Kohberger had been to that house before for parties or something. We have no reason to think that, but if that's the case, I think that could play into, for sure, the defense.
I want to move on to the second, what I think is a huge piece of evidence. It's Bryan Kohberger's cell phone pinging. What are some of the key pieces that prosecutors are going to go hone in on here?
Well, yeah, in the probable
that's
cause
great
affidavit,
news. I was watching some of that before I came live. Hey, cool mom, did Tom get hurt? I heard something like someone backed in or hit Tom. What's going on with that? Yeah, I was gonna play that stream. I was gonna do something this week and do an update. Can you update me, cool mom? So if anybody's wondering and interested in the Karen Reed case, there was a vote today of an audit of the Canton Police Department, and they voted yes on that. So they're going to be able to look into doing some audits on, how they process paperwork. Obviously, this is going to be lean very heavily into the Karen Reed case. So very, very interesting stuff. I heard that Tom got hit. So I'm definitely going to be doing some Karen Reed stuff again. And I want to actually reach out to Turtle Boy and maybe see if I can get him back here and he can talk a little bit about that. So Cool Mom says, I'm not 100% sure what happened with Tom, so I don't want to give you false info. What's your Twitter? I'll DM you. Yeah, absolutely. So my Twitter is down below. If you look there, it's at Let's Talk Live YTC. And you can see it right there on the bottom of the screen. It says X at Let's Talk Live YTC. You can absolutely reach out to me. Make sure to give me a follow over there. I appreciate it. They took his phone. That's not cool. So we're gonna I'm gonna reach out to Turtle Boy and see if I can get him back. You remember when I was out there on the steps talking to him and meeting him that time a couple of weeks ago at court, he said, hey, I want to come back on your podcast. So maybe he can come back and explain as to what's going on and what this audit is fully about. So thank you for that update. That's amazing. Thank you. I won't be able to read the DM right now because I am live, but I'll get back to you after the show. All right, let's keep playing through this video. We got about another 10 minutes or so. Great.
Makes very clear that Kohberger's cell phone pinged multiple times near the crime scene around the time of the murders, and that then it went away and then came back. There's some speculation, like was he concerned that he left the knife sheath there, and that's why he went back? We don't know, but his cell phone definitely pinged in that area. And what's interesting is the cell phone, according to detectives, appears to have been turned off around the time of the actual murders, which why would the phone be turned off right at that time? That's definitely something that the prosecution highlighted in their probable cause affidavit. Kohberger's defense has said that.
Yeah, Cool Mom. I don't know if you know, and you probably do. I had an interview here with Aiden quite a few weeks ago, probably about a month and a half ago. If you haven't seen that, you can go over on my homepage and check out that interview. It was really, really good. Okay, let's keep playing.
Kohberger liked to go for basically like drives and joy rides and, would drive around in the night. Is that going to be like a possible defense or alibi? We don't know, but that's something that his defense has said in filings.
And let me amplify that a little bit. So you're right. I mean, they say then they look at the cell phone technology, which, by the way, in any case, defense attorneys will try to poke holes.
I got to
in
watch
how accurate
something.
is it? But what it seems to suggest is that he was
I
pinged
hope
at
I
his
win this
apartment in
record
Pullman,
if I
Washington, just
jump out the
before
window.
3 a.m. on the morning of the murders. House is about 10, 15 minutes away from the King Road home. The phone, like you said, connection disappeared, came on 2 hours later, which, like you said, it looks like maybe it was possible that he might have turned it off, but it comes on again at 5:30 a.m. I think it's also interesting because you look at his phone GPS and it pinged at or near that house at least 12 times before November 13th, which again, even if you go with that alibi that he was, he took late night drives, he drove around the area. It's only 10, 15 minutes away. Maybe he went to nearby bars. The fact that he was near the home, I think, is peculiar.
Yeah, will it come out that he was, like stalking the house, watching things there? Is that why he was driving by so many times before? I mean, we don't know that that's the reason, but they're very specific with the pings. And that's I mean, that was a big part of the probable cause affidavit. So, and the fact that the phone was turned off, and a lot of the defense attorneys, like the experts who I've interviewed over the last year, that's something that they always seem to like highlight, saying that's not good for defense. That they feel like that's one of the big issues with the defense. Why was the phone turned off at the exact times of the murders?
Suspicious. I will tell you, it seems to me the only way they can prove that alibi would either be Kohberger testifying and saying this is what he did, he would drive around, or B, witnesses saying, yeah, I knew his habits. I didn't think, it's the phone records. Phone records can only show so much, but they will call witnesses to say this is what his pattern is. Have you heard anything like that about who the defense might call to prove this alibi?
No, and we've, in all of our reporting, I've never really come across anyone in Idaho or in Washington where he was going to school and where he was getting his PhD that was his friend or that hung out with him or that went on drives with him or that went out drinking with him. We've never come across anyone like that. It's always people who oh yeah, he was in my class and he was kind of odd. So if there is a friend out there that can corroborate, that he likes to drive around and stuff, we haven't come across anyone like that.
Let's move on to the third piece of major evidence against Bryan Kohberger, the car, where we know that just about, 2 weeks after the murders, police announced that they were looking for this white Hyundai Elantra. It was one of the only pieces of information that they released during the early part of the investigation. Why is the car so important, Bryan?
Yeah, and that's all that they had to go on, at least with what they were telling the media for so long. So every day in the beginning, just coming out over and over again. I'm saying, if you've seen the Elantra, basically it was spotted around the house. There's even some surveillance video of right near where the house is, where you can see the car driving by. And they say that they've, connected the Elantra to being at or near the crime scene at the time of the murders. Again, there's a lot we don't know because of the gag order and because so many of the documents are sealed. It's so frustrating with the reporting because, we'll read one paragraph and then the rest will be blacked out. So there's a lot we don't know, but from what I've read, it doesn't seem like they found any physical evidence inside the Elantra. When they processed it, again, that could just be blacked out. That could be part of the gag order. But we know that based on surveillance video, they did connect that car type, to being in and around the area of the house where the murders happened.
Yeah, they say the car passed the home 4 times between 3:29 a.m. and 4:04 a.m. They say that the car was speeding away 16 minutes after that time, so right around after the killings. And then you mentioned how they matched it up to him because a Washington State University officer spotted this white Hyundai Elantra in the parking lot of the apartment complex near campus. The car was registered to Kohberger. And then one of the pieces of evidence that I don't think people talk about enough, Bryan, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that later on in the day of the killings, in the afternoon, there's surveillance footage from an Albertsons where you see Bryan Kohberger exiting that car, the white Hyundai Elantra. So the idea that he could come back and say, somebody else was driving my car, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And the Albertsons trip is one of the big mysteries. There's so many things with this case that I think are going to come out in trial that we still don't know. And that's one of the things. And even interviewing Kaylee Goncalves' parents a couple of weeks ago, that's something that they're really interested in because we don't know what police know about him going to that store, what he was buying. That's still like one of the things that everyone is really, really curious about. But yeah, it's going to be hard for, I mean, it's his, you know, that he has that kind of car. So it's going to be hard for him to really distance himself, I think, from the car. And you mentioned the police officer in Washington State spotting it in the parking lot. I'm also very curious, like the timeline behind the scenes. We still don't know, you know, based on the genetic genealogy and what they were mapping out and tracing it down to Kohberger. It's still a little gray of like, you know, did they know that they thought it was Kohberger at that time? Did the cop just happen to spot the car? Like, we still don't know a lot. I'm very curious what they knew and when, because covering it in real time, it was like, we know nothing, we know nothing. Then when the documents came out, we realized like they knew a lot. We still don't know the exact timeline of what they knew and when.
That's a great point. That's a great point, because we also know that Kohberger and his father, they were driving this white Honda Elantra from Washington to Pennsylvania in the weeks before his arrest. Kohberger was pulled over twice by law enforcement for speeding and tailgating. Here's a sample of that.
Hello. How you doing? How y'all doing today? Good, good. Take a look at your driver's license real quick if I could. See, he's right up on that van, man. He was right up on the back end of that van. Pulled you over for tailgating. Is this your car? Okay.
And yeah, like another example, how that's going to fit into the overall case, the timeline. I couldn't agree with you more. Brian, I know your time is limited, so I want to go to this.
So if everybody's wondering what's going on, okay, so I'm in a Facebook group that does vinyl record auctions, okay? And my favorite record of all time just came up today, and I had the opportunity to buy it. So what they do is they do auctions. So you can buy spots. And I got into the auction, and of course, this always happens. It's an original copy with the hype sticker, if you know anything about albums. I mean, it's the first pressing, primo, top of the line, first press, hype sticker, like my dream album that I've been trying to get for at least the last 5 years now. Comes up for auction today. I ended up buying 17 spots in the auction. It was a 30-spot auction. 17 spots. It literally came down to me, the guy that bought 17 spots, and the guy that bought 1 spot. Guess who won? And the thing is the guy even said, as it was getting in auction, he was like, I was going to reach out to you and see if you want to just do a straight sale. And I just could have had the opportunity to do that. So I just spent a sizable amount of money to try to win this record, and I lost. And it literally came down to me that bought 17 spots and one guy that bought 1 spot. So I'm a little devastated right now. The fact that I've been chasing this record for about 5 years with the hype sticker, first pressing, my favorite album of all time. And I just kind of blew a bunch of money for nothing. So that sucked. Okay, we'll keep playing the video.
This 4th piece of evidence, some would say the biggest bombshell in the probable cause affidavit, a piece of evidence that I am not sure how it's ultimately going to play out. And that is, according to the affidavit, that one of the roommates who was unharmed in the attack says that she may have actually seen the suspect the night of the murder.
No, it's Danzig 1. I have a reproduction copy of it. It's literally on my turn. I play it every single day. It's on my turntable right now. But it's the first 1988 release with the hype sticker. I mean, you don't find those very often. And it's not cheap. You know, it's expensive. And yeah, I didn't win. That sucks. The guy that bought 1 spot won. I knew that was going to happen. It always happens.
Murders.
Really bummed
So the
out.
King Road house, 3 floors. The attacks happened on the 2nd and 3rd floors. One of the surviving roommates, Dylan Mortensen.
And the thing is, the vinyl was in like perfect condition. It was like rated mint. So the vinyl was mint, no scratches, no nothing. The album, the cover had a little bit of wear on it, but I don't mind about that because I like that. That's actually kind of cool. Oh, that sucked.
Has a room. Told investigators that she woke up around 4 a.m. to hear some sort of noise. Thought she heard Kaylee Goncalves say that there's someone here. Mortensen claimed that she opened the door. She heard someone crying and a male voice saying, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." She then said that she opened the door again after she heard more crying and saw a person wearing black clothing and a mask that covered their mouth and nose walking towards her. Didn't recognize the person, thought he was maybe 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built. One of the key identifiers that he had bushy eyebrows. And so she says that she was frozen in shock, went back into her room. 911 wasn't called till the next day. There's been a lot of criticism, and I think unfair criticism about Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk, about what happened, their role that they played. How do you think that they're going to be witnesses at this upcoming trial? Because there's a lot of pressure on them to testify, and there's already a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you said. I really feel for them. I hate, the articles that come out that are critical of them because I can't imagine being in their situation. And also, like, going back to the point of what we said about it being a party house and, they're all in college and there were people coming and going from that house all the time. Like, did she know that he was the person that was the murderer? I mean, or did she just think there was a creepy guy walking in the house, and was she half asleep? Had they been out drinking? Who knows? But yeah, she gave kind of that vague description. The bushy eyebrows was,
I mean, honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, Danzig 1, the album Danzig 1, just Danzig, is probably one of, if not the most underrated rock albums of all time. Like, every song bangs all the way through. I mean, if you like a Black Sabbath version of Elvis, hands down. If you took Elvis, Jim Morrison, and Black Sabbath and threw them together in a blender, that is that album. Rick Rubin produced it. I don't know if everybody here knows who Rick Rubin is. Rick Rubin is a legendary producer, and it has the crispness of that album of it. Actually, if you put a little AC/DC in there too. Rubin produced a lot of AC/DC. It has that feel, that groove through it. It's probably the most underrated rock album of all time. It should be, at least in my opinion, top, I mean, I'm biased, I would say top 10, but at least in the top 100 rock albums of all time. At least top 50 rock albums of all time. Easily. Damn, I'm devastated right now.
One of the more descriptive things that she said. And she, that we had no preliminary hearing in this case because it was a grand jury indictment. So we haven't actually heard from her, like on the witness stand. We haven't been able to, read the statements.
I can't play any of it because I'll get banged but y'all can check it out. I mean, if you have any interest in the music I listen to.
If police, besides the basics and the probable cause, remember there was that issue where they wanted to try to call her in to be interviewed, and she made some kind of deal with the public defender they went out and talked to her out of state where she was staying. So she's clearly got a story that she is telling, and an account of what happened that she is telling that we don't know yet, besides those basics of what you said. Does she have even more specifics that are going to come out? I think that's possible. Was it probably just a dark shadowy figure with bushy eyebrows and she was maybe like half asleep? I think that's probably more likely the case, because I think if there were more, important descriptive elements, I would have thought they would have put that in the probable cause to kind of beat it up a little bit. But again, another one of the things that I'm super fascinated with that we just don't have a lot of info on yet.
And look, I'll tell you, I'm concerned that even though she could be compelled to testify, she may try every which way not to. We've heard reports that she's switched universities, that she's racked with survivor's guilt. There's all this online pressure. You mentioned what happened with, the defense coming to question her. If she goes on that stand, the defense is going to intensely question her. And she's in such a sensitive state. Do you think there's a possibility that the prosecution, with all the other evidence they have, they may not ask her as a witness. I mean, she's important, but they may not want to do that to her.
I think it's possible. I think they probably will, though. I mean, that's just my feeling. And I also wonder if some of the reporting is over. I mean, obviously she has survivor's guilt and is going through hell, but you know, I've talked to some family members of the victims who have been in touch with her, who, you know, they've spoken with her. You know, I don't know if some of that is being a little overplayed in terms of her, you know, basically just being this like basket case or something. Like I think she's obviously going through it, but I haven't done any reporting where I found out that she is like, you know, just unable to speak kind of thing.
That's fair. I'm glad you mentioned that. Brian, before we let you go, these were like, I would say 4 of the biggest pieces of evidence against Bryan Kohberger. How much more do you think they have against him, prosecutors, that we just don't know about yet? You touched upon it a little bit, but is there something from their searches of his property or his belongings that you think we don't know about yet that could play?
So I don't know if you're just getting in here, Jeff. So I'm part of a record auction group, and I literally have been chasing down this. Well, I mean, for a long time I've been chasing down, but it came up available with the hype sticker. The cover was in okay condition. You know, it was used, but the vinyl was perfect. It was first press. I paid quite a amount of money for the spots in the auction. I knew this was going to happen. It happens to me all the time. 30-spot auction. I bought 17 spots. One guy bought 1 spot. It came down to me and him at the frigging end, and he ended up winning it. I can't. Like, what the fuck? How does that happen?
Play a critical role in the upcoming trial?
You know, I think there's going to be, I really think there's going to
I'll talk about this after the video.
Be other bombshell evidence. I really do. Like, you know, we've heard the reporting about him going through the trash with the gloves on. Like, I think some of that stuff is going to come out officially.
There's so many bangers of Twisted Cane, Am I Demon, Not of This World, Soul on Fire. I mean, I wish I could play. I can't play it, but if anybody's interested, you know, I'll drop the link. You can play the playlist off that album. I mean, it's you like Morrison, Elvis, Sabbath, AC/DC crammed into one band. That is that album. It's just amazing. Such an amazing album. So underrated. One of the most underrated rock albums of all time.
I just think there's a lot of like, I think they laid out the basics and there's going to be a lot of detail. And I think back to even like the Vallow trial, there were like a few bombshells that came out there that had never surfaced until the trial. Like, I really think that's going to happen in this case.
Oh, and Jeff, by the way, I wrote you back. I don't know if you got my emails, but I wrote you back about videos. So get back to me. Let me answer me.
I also think we're going to see bombshells from the defense. I mean, I think, you know, he's got a very capable attorney. I mean, I go to almost every hearing. She's a smart woman. You know, she's not like, I mean, they're, you know, they're coming up with things too, I think, behind the scenes. So I go back to the genealogy. I'm very interested to see the way that plays out. I mean, you're a lawyer. Maybe you could explain this a little better, but like if they can poke holes in that, what does that mean? Does that mean that all the evidence that they figured out because of the genetic genealogy could possibly be thrown out? Like, they seem to be very focused on that IgG right now. Which I think is going to be interesting.
Yeah, the part that I still am not clear about is how it was used to pinpoint Kohberger. I know they say it wasn't used as a basis for a search warrant. I just don't understand what the connection was, and that has to be clarified. So if the defense can poke holes and like the linkage of evidence and the chain of evidence, and we call it like fruit of the poisonous tree, that is something that was definitely going to be explored. And look, I think it's going to be a fascinating trial between the prosecution and the defense. We're kind of give a little bit of a sampling of it. And, you know, with your terrific reporting, Brian, we're going to probably find out more details before a jury is even sworn in. So Bryan Entin out in Idaho, thank you so much. And as always, good to see you and great reporting.
Thanks, Jesse. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Sorry I kind of spun the stream tonight. There was an opportunity that came up to do this. I had to get involved in it. It went to the I didn't think it was going to do the auction. Usually it takes a couple of days to do the auction, but I think because I paid pretty quickly and I bought so many spots, he wanted to do the auction tonight. So I apologize. I got really distracted tonight. I'm sorry. It was an opportunity to get something that I really wanted, and I just kind of blew a lot of money, and I'm kind of upset. I'm upset about it, but life goes on. I will recoup. It sucks. But I'll tell you, I have actually something that is very, very cool, and I'm very proud of it because I got to acquire it a couple weeks ago from the original photographer himself. If everybody knows, I mean, you can look right behind me. I am a huge Misfits fan, and I'm a huge Danzig fan, and they all tie into each other. Glenn Danzig was the singer of the Misfits, 77 to 82. They disbanded. They came back in the 90s, and they now have come up and done some kind of like legacy shows as they've gone on. Danzig went off after he broke off from the Misfits to go to a band kind of in the later 80s called Sam Hain. That broke off in 88. He came out with just Danzig. That was the album that I was trying to acquire tonight. But anyway, I digress on that. But I want to go back to 1982 and show you a photograph that I actually got to obtain from the original artist. Now, it's not the original photograph, but it's an original photograph from that negative. It's signed by the artist. I just got it framed, and this was the bass player in the Misfits, Jerry Only, and I actually got to acquire this photograph, which is pretty badass. And the thing that's cool about this is, if anybody's interested, in the liner notes of the 1982 Walk Among Us album, that photo is used in the collage. Now, not that very photo, because it is a reprint, but from the original negative, signed by the original photographer, Erie Vaughn, that went on to be the bass player in Sam Hain. So I'm a little crushed, but I recently kind of got some cool stuff. My first Danzig autograph, and I'll show you that really quick. And again, this might bore everybody, but this is stuff that I'm into. It's just kind of stuff in my personal life that I'm into. This is cool. So Danzig started doing represses of his Who Killed Marilyn, and I actually obtained, that is my first Glenn Danzig confirmed, verified signature. And I think that is really, really cool. And two great songs on here, Who Killed Marilyn and Spook City, USA. But I have that. I have another copy that's unsigned, because I'm going to play this one. And I actually got this one is limited. The white vinyl was limited to 300. So it was only 300 made. Danzig signed the cover right there. So I have that one too, but only 300 of the white. I know I'm nerdy, but this is stuff that I love. Probably doesn't interest anybody in here. But that's the white with the Marilyn on there. So I love it. I'm a huge fan. I have so much rare Misfit stuff. I've been collecting for a long time, and it's hard to come by. There's a lot of fakes, and you have to be really careful who you buy it from. Make sure your sources are vetted. One thing I don't have, which I should have had tonight, was an original copy of Danzig 1988 with the hype sticker. I don't have that, so I'm a little bummed out, but there'll be other opportunities, and down the road, hopefully I will be able to do that. So I'm sorry that I bored all of you with that. Damn it. I'm really bummed out about that. That sucks. That should have been like, I should have been like, oh, that's going to be like mailed to me. It's going to be mine. Oh, that really sucks. I'm really bummed out by that. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Life goes on. Life goes on. Let's see. Misfits fans have nerds. You are do like the Godfathers of true punk. Absolutely. And the thing is that a lot of their stuff is very rare because they never put out a lot of stuff. But they're like one of the most heavily bootleg bands of all time. Heavily bootleg bands of all time. Crystal said, I won't lie. Your channel first came up and I clicked on it. I instantly saw the Misfits on the wall, and it's I've stuck around ever since. Yeah, I have that, and I have a bunch of very rare Misfit posters. This is a rare poster. I have one over here. A buddy of mine just sent me another one that I got to get framed. I have so much stuff that I'm so bummed out tonight by that. I'm so bummed out. Oh shit, that sucks. Anyway, we're coming up in 2.5 hours. I want to thank everybody for being here and living through my kind of nerd out session tonight. Shit happens. I'm sorry that it took away from the performance tonight. I usually don't do that, but it was an opportunity to do this very quick, get into it, and just see what happens. So we're going to end the poll here. Do you believe the evidence stacks up against Bryan Kohberger in this video? And 82% yes, and 17% said no. A tour of my room. I can do the best I can by this. Hang on. Let me move this stuff over. So on my Christmas wish list, Danzig 1, hype sticker, original, first pressing. You can find me one. Very hard to find. I don't know. Tour on my room. Let's see. What can I do? What can I do to tour my room? There's really not much to it. It's clean. This is my bedroom. I'm letting you see all my intimate details over here. I'm actually showing my bedroom. But let me do this. Yeah, there's my room. It's my sneakers collection over here. I got my bed. This is where I am. My closet is my camera. This is my studio. All my records are there. In the corner is a bunch of junk that needs to be cleaned. But yeah, that's my room. It's my special little place, I guess. Not many people get to see people's bedrooms. This is a very private area, but it's cool. It's clean. What I wanted to do was, and I think it would just freak people out too much, was the actual, I have a weird, twisted mind, but I want to get one of those, the Texas, what is it? Those things with the horns. I wanted to get one and hang it up on my bed, but I think it would freak people out too much. But I don't know. That's my room. That's where I sit. I'm literally in the corner of my bedroom. It's right here. That's way too much, Mary. You're gonna probably pay, let's see. You're gonna be in the range of, let's see. So he was doing $12 a spot. It was 30 spots. You shouldn't pay more than about 400 from that for that album. About 400. And I'll tell you, I paid half for those spots. So I basically blew $200 tonight. But shit happens. Oh well. Yeah, Texas Longhorn or like the antelope thing. You know, I kind of wanted to get something close to I know I'm weird. And people are gonna be like, yeah, it's Satan stuff. It has nothing to do with Satan. I just think it's cool. It would be like I don't know. Those like an antelope. Antelope. Like these things. These are cool. You know, like antelope horns. Just like, you know, Texas vibe. Yeah. Rogue says, I wouldn't want to risk anything horn falling on me when I sleep. Yeah, that's the only thing that's scary. Is that Dude, it's listed on this. Yeah, but here's the thing, Barry. I got to recover here. I just spent $200. If I buy that on Discord, that's $600 that I'm spending today. So I got to recoup. I need people to buy me a coffee. If you want to buy me a coffee, you can right there at that link. Or you could become a member and support the channel. Or you could send a super chat. Yeah, Longhorn would knock you out. Completely knock you out. If that thing fell, whew, that would hurt. That would hurt. So, what was I going to say? My week is going to be very, very busy. I'm going to try to stream. I think I'm going to just do a members only tomorrow night if I can, but it's going to be late. And then, let's see, tomorrow is Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be very busy, and then you're not going to hear anything from me Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Possibly Sunday night I will have another stream, but I definitely know Friday, Saturday you ain't going to see me. My day job, I work in sales. I'm in retail. It's Black Friday. It's going to be very busy. Maybe I do one on Thanksgiving night. Probably. I'll probably be home. Maybe I'll pop one up. We'll do something. But the rest of the week, I definitely know Friday, Saturday, there's going to be no streams. Sunday, I probably can do one. My Thanksgiving plans, super easy. My mom will probably come to my house. We will eat and relax, and then she usually goes off, and I do my thing here. I don't really do much. I don't have much family. I don't talk to my dad or anything. So just me and my mom. She'll come over and cook. Yeah, pretty simple. And then I'll probably spend most of the rest of the time working on the channel, or I'll pop up and do a stream that night. See if I can pull some people in and hang out. So, yeah, I'm weird. I don't think I'm that weird. But what's everybody else's plans? You guys all going, guys and ladies going away, or are you staying at home, or you having a bunch of people over? What are you doing? Tell me your plans. Weird is good, Jeff said. Thought your mom lived. My mom does not live with me. She lives one street over from me. I have my own place. I have my own place. All my lights are turned off in my house right now. The only lights on here are just in my bedroom. No, I am on my own. I don't live in my mama's basement. No, this is my place. This is my little place. It's not big, but it's mine. And I don't like big. I'll be honest with you. If I won the lottery, I would live in the smallest place possible because I would never be home. I would just probably buy like an apartment or a condo. I wouldn't want a big house. I'd want a lot of cars. I can tell you that. I would have an exuberant amount of car collection. Huge car collection. I'm a car guy. And music. Albums. Oh my God. But I would not I wouldn't have a big house. Why? So everybody's staying home. Ron's is going to gain 15 pounds. She's going to go. Dina's going to go visit her brother and uncle. Traveling. My ex-boyfriend's parents invited me to their house for dinner. So probably going to go there to annoy his girlfriend. Interesting. Jeff said, would each car be painted with Danzig album covers? That would be kind of cool. I probably would have one with like the logo on it. But no, my dream car, 72 Nova, 72 or 78. My friend has a 78, and he's offered it to sell it to me. That's been a consideration of mine to buy that. But it was funny. I said to Carrie the other day, the minute I make my first, like if I ever become famous or whatever, my first thing is I'm going to buy myself a nice restored 72 or 78 Nova. I really want a 72. That would be my dream. Jeff says I used to have a 69 Camaro and a 64 Galaxy. I had a 63 Nova, a project that I was working on last year, but it fell to shit. And I'm kind of upset about that because I lost about $7,000 in that car. And it ended up, it was just a big mess. That was a huge mess. What else? Gee, we almost had a 3-hour stream tonight. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, by the way, I will announce this since we're getting to the end of the stream. We have, and I say we because Carrie has worked on this. We got some stuff coming for you guys, and it should be happening hopefully in the next week. We have a lot of stuff that's in process and a lot of stuff that's going to make your jaws drop on the ground. And I'll give you a hint. Some stuff pertaining to in and around the Idaho area. And I have some stuff that is pertaining into around the Arizona area. So you're going to have to pay attention to when all that stuff comes up and it drops. And Carrie and I are very excited about it because she's worked really hard on it. And I told her I appreciate you. But we got some stuff coming. You're going to be surprised. You're going to be surprised. It's going to be very exclusive. That's right. Carrie's been working her magic with the clerks in and around all these areas. Nope, I'm not giving it away, but you're going to have to pay attention. We're not giving it away. So Lisa says, hey, Brian, love your show. How come Tanya doesn't come on your show anymore? Just curious. Lisa, I have no idea. You'll have to ask that question to her. I actually recently, the last couple nights, have been cordially in her chat. I've dropped a couple super chats to her. And I don't know. That's on her. I have always extended the invitation to Tanya. She's never hit me up to come on her channel. She's never hit me up to say, hey, can I come over and hang out? It's always been me reaching out to her. No hard feelings. But if she ever wants to come over and hang out, absolutely. I have no problem with that. But yeah, thanks for the question. Truth and Transparency will be jealous. I don't even watch that channel. I don't even pay attention to her. I'll be honest with you. I don't even watch any true crime channels because I've said this in the past. I don't want to cloud my vision of LTL True Crime Podcast. I think that there's a lot of creators out there that do watch other channels and shape the material to their channels around other creators. I see examples of it all the time, and I've called this out in the past. I've called it out in the past in the sense of, look at the receipts. When I started doing Looking Back in Idaho, I did a seven video live stream series on that. I did that back in March of this year. And immediately after I did that, everybody started copying it and making it their own. And you can look, because I can pull up the first date on the receipt. You will not find any other channel out there that was doing that. And listen, I don't watch Dago, and he does whatever he does on his channel, but at least I can say that people actually said he gave me credit for the inspiration. He went, I think this is a brilliant idea from Brian over at LTL. So I'll give him a prop on that. At least he gave me credit where other people have just flat out stolen what I've done through their thumbnails, through their titles, through their series. I'm now starting to see creators out there doing true crime across America. You know who the first person was to do that? Here you go. True crime reviews across America. Ready? I'll play it. I'll play you my little sting that I had. Remember when I used to do those? I used to take like 3 or 4 cases that no one heard of, and we would talk about it. I want to do that again. you know, but there's other people that are doing that now. Why? Where did you see that? You know, all of a sudden pop up, oh, I have these updates. We're going to do true crime updates across America. What the fuck? So it's just, you know, like, it's cool. If you want to take my stuff, at least give me credit, you know, and I'm glad that I haven't heard anybody pulling up Chelsea's, the body cam footage. I'm the only channel that has all the body cam footage. And I'm so glad that there's not people pulling it up and using it. I have no problem, but reach out to me first and say, hey, can I use this? Great. Sure. But just make sure you link my channel, or you talk about my channel when you do it, you know, because that took us a lot of work to get that. Carrie and I, you know, worked on that. Carrie did a lot of legwork to get that file. And then, you know, it's just certain things that I see, like topics I talk about. Like, I'll do a Chelsea Grim stream and I'll look over and this person's doing one that night. And I'm like, really? Or I'm doing an Idaho stream tonight and this person's doing an Idaho stream tonight. You know, they all stream at the same time. But it's like, I know that you're looking at what I'm doing because I post my tiles at like 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning to do the placeholder. And I see it all the time. And even down to like actual titles that I have at 6 in the morning. And then I'll look and I'll go, oh my God, this creator is literally taking my title. This creator literally has the same thumbnail. It's just funny. Like Chelsea Grim, no one would have known about Chelsea's case unless they would have saw it here on LTL. And I think it's great that people are talking about her because it should be talked about. We want to bring Chelsea home. You know, we want to bring Chelsea home. But it gets frustrating sometimes as a live streamer because we see it. You know, we see it. I talk about it behind the scenes. We never talk about it on air, but, you know, I see it. And it's just, I think it's ridiculous sometimes where people just go to the nth degree with a certain case. Like they've just been beating it to death. And it's like, dude, I mean, it's literally like Idaho. I cannot believe that you're looking back at the grub truck video again. Seriously? And they're going, did you see it? You see it? See the way they were looking? See the guy who was walking? See the little signal he did? Huh? See his hand go like this? He was signaling to that guy over there. I'm like, stop. It's such garbage. It's garbage. But anyway, I don't let him, you know, I always say I don't let it bother me, but I talk about it sometimes. I just think it's goofy. It's like, find your own stuff to do, you know? And I guess what they say is what imitation is the highest form of flattery. But the thing that pisses me off is you're presenting that to your audience, but you're taking my ideas and then you're presenting it to your audience and you're making it yours. And it's just kind of annoying because you're exposing that out and you may have more subs than me. So you're doing this thing and you're posting this stuff and you're saying it's yours and it's really not your idea. I'm always wondering sometime if I should make up like a fake case, like the Jim Winter case, and see if these people start copying me. Cool Mom says she has an update in the Canton hearing. Says no overthrown at Canton meeting. That's great. We got the audit 100%. I think that's great. Jeff says it can be like looking up at the clouds and seeing animal shapes, like that rabbit is signaling the giraffe. Absolutely. But it's just frustrating because, you know, I work hard here. Oh, thank you so much. I don't think it was just me. It was we, because you all came in for those streams. You had no idea what that case was. And thank God that I came across that small little article, you know, almost a month and a half ago. And I said, something doesn't seem right on this. But if you didn't come here and if you didn't come here and watch those streams and get invested in that case and come after night after night after night and realize we have an issue, you know, and get invested in this case, you know, I wouldn't have been able to go to the lengths that we did. You know, I think we've brought a lot of attention, you know, being in this chat, pounding that drum, maybe going on your social medias and sharing this stuff out or talking on your Twitter or whatever, your Instagram, and talking about Chelsea's case. It would not be able to be done without you. I got a question. What's going on with Detective John? I don't know. He's got his channel up and going. Looks like it's going pretty well over there. Haven't checked in over there in, I don't know, a month and a half. Good luck. I knew that he had his channel going. I think he's got quite a few people on his panel now. Good. It's great. Good for him. It's going well. I hope what he's deciding to do or what he's doing over there works out well. I don't know. I just stick to my channel. Again, I don't watch other creator stuff. I don't have time, nor have I ever said that I do, because I don't want it to cloud the vision of what I have here. So all the best of luck to all the channels out there, and all the best of luck to all these creators. And Detective John, great. All the best of luck. I hope it all works out. Carrie says, I'm so glad you're covering Chelsea. Thank you. Cindy says, I won't lie. I've gone to a few channels just to watch, and I always come back here because you like truth and transparency. How ironic, right? Yeah, I think it's cool. You know, he's got his channel. I'm doing my thing over here. Whatever he's doing, if it works for him, great. I never wished him a bad day in his life. He's got his channel now, and I hope it blows up and he gets 50,000 subscribers. Paula says, my daughter never heard of Chelsea until I told her, and she was driving in Arizona going to Nevada to California that week. Yeah. Let's see. Cindy with the yellow hearts. Thank you, Cindy. That's sweet. That's Chelsea. That's the Chelsea hearts. Those are the Chelsea hearts. Wow, we've almost done 3 hours tonight. Let's see. Bills have one of the toughest, if not the toughest, schedules for the rest of the season. Just saying. Do you think the Bills have a chance? I know my Patriots have no freaking chance. I know they have no chance. But the Bills, I like the Bills, actually. Josh Allen's great. I think he's a really good quarterback. I don't know. Does anybody have any other questions while we're here? We're almost on 3 hours. I don't mind. We're kind of just hanging out tonight. It is getting late. It's almost 11 here on the East Coast. I think I'm going to come back and do another Chelsea stream soon, because I'd love to read. I think we should go over the case file again and really look through those tips. Just the tip. I think we should go over those tips and look at them. I think they're important. And, you know, after hearing some more information from Steve, I think we should do that too and go over it again. So maybe my next stream will be Chelsea. We'll revamp the case and go over it. And I'd like to look over some of the body cam footage again too, especially the one when they first went to see her SUV in the National Forest. I think that's important. So I will set something up soon, and I think that's going to be it for tonight, unless anybody has any other questions. I'll wait a few more minutes. We got about 2 more minutes. If you have another question, please ask. Everybody's talking about the Bills. I think there's a lot of New York people in here. That's why. My New York fans. Positive vibe here. Thank you. I appreciate that. We try to do the best we can. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do on the second channel. Post your thumbnails later. Yeah, we could try doing that. I just think it's funny sometimes where I'm like, so I'll put my thumb up in the morning. I do it so I don't forget. And I want to remind people that there's a stream tonight. So I'll put the thumb up, and then I'll come up, and sometimes I search around and say, oh, what is everybody talking about tonight? It's like this one creator literally does the same streams that I do, runs parallel to me. I think it's hilarious. Paula says, I hope all have a happy Thanksgiving and safe with the snow bomb. They are saying that's hitting the New York area. Wow. That's crazy. I don't want to get snow. I have another channel and it's already half monetized. So I can live stream there and have monetization through the live streams. But I do have to get to 1,000 subscribers on that channel for it to be fully monetized, which means make money from the residual money off the videos. But right now in the live streams, I can make money, and I have membership set up over there. It's called LTL True Crime Rewind. And maybe we start doing some after shows, more of a casual setting like this over there where we just kind of hang out. So it opens up those members only chats to everybody. So I'm thinking about something like that. I don't know. I don't really have quite the idea yet. I think I'm on to something there. But right now what I've been doing is just running parallel streams. So this stream is running on that channel as well right now. And we're going to get up to that 1,000 subscriber mark over there and start really pumping out some other content over there too. So we're excited. We are excited. I say we because Carrie's been helping me out with a lot of the paperwork and getting material. I'll drop the link for you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I will get the link, and then I'm gonna close this one up for tonight. Carrie, nothing on that yet. I saw your, but I'm gonna end up probably changing the name. But right now, it's just kind of a backup channel at this moment, but I'm probably going to change the name. So if anybody wants to subscribe to the second channel, if you haven't yet, there's the second channel link there. Please go over, subscribe. But for now, I am running dual streams. So the same stream is being posted right there right now. But make sure you come here to home base, LTL True Crime Podcast, home base right now. And then once I start running different material over there, I'll let you know. You know, maybe we do one stream over there a week or something, but we'll get it going over there. Okay. We are at 3 hours. Hell of a long stream. I apologize. It was not professional tonight. I got very distracted midstream. I was excited about something. That thought now has passed. And I apologize. And that will not happen again because I did not give you my full attention as a creator tonight. So I want to apologize, but I appreciate everybody sticking around here at the end. And I will make sure that, you know, my personal affairs don't get in the way of the content. And I got a little out of my mind tonight, out of the element. It distracted me. And, you know, for you as the audience, you lost probably about 20 minutes. So I do apologize on that. I'm going to end this one up. Thank you all. When I was punching the air. So what happened was I wasn't punching the air. I was going, yes, because what happened was it came down to the last 4 chips. I had 3, and the guy that won with his one fucking chip was in there. So statistically, I had an advantage. I had a 75% chance of winning. He pulls 1, 2 of mine automatically. Then it's down to me and him. So I have a 50-50 chance. And then the first chip out is my chip because the last chip wins, and it was that guy. So anyway. All right, y'all. Be fun. Be fun. Have fun. Be good. I will try to sneak in a stream. If I don't, Creepy Crystal says, that's why I like your channel, Brian. Just be you and be in the moment. That's what makes your channel. That's why I stay. Thank you. I appreciate it. If I know I'm going to probably come back. I might do a late night stream tomorrow. It might just be a members only hangout. Maybe I just do it on the second channel. You know, we'll just talk a variety of stuff over there. I don't know. I'll do something, but look out. Maybe a members only late night. I'll make the decision tomorrow when I get up because I don't have to go into work till noon. I might do a morning stream tomorrow. I haven't really decided yet, or maybe a morning members only. But I will have some content, and then probably Friday, Saturday, you won't see anything of me. And then Sunday night, I will most likely do a stream, and then my schedule should start kind of resuming back to what it was. Ultimately, the thing that I need to do here is in the next year or at least 6 months, my goal is to financially sustain here so I don't have to go to a corporate job anymore. Or by 6 months, I want to be able to cut half of my full-time job down to a part-time and do part-time, basically full-time creation, part-time work. And then by the end of the year, my goal is to be a full-time content creator. So I will see everybody soon. Thank you so much for being here. Very long late night stream. I haven't done a 3-hour one in a long time. So everybody have an amazing night. Be well. Sleep well. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.